Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Residents of Evil. Thank you all so much for joining us on this Saturday as we jump into Resident Evil 2 Seamless HD Project. Once again, I am joined by director, producer of George A. Romero's Resident Evil, Brandon Salisbury. Welcome back, Brandon.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, man. We had a lot of fun last night. We went into Resident Evil 1, talked about the documentary, talked about George Romero, we talked about Resident Evil, and it was a blast. And thank you all so much for coming out to that. This is a bonus stream, and you're probably wondering, what? Saturday? Rose Live a Saturday? Yeah, actually you get a bonus tonight because we did plan on filming something today. And man, a lot was working against us. It was thing after thing after thing, and finally like, you know what? We don't need to do this. I think you said, let's play some Resident Evil 2 or something. Like, I'm down for that. And I was like, that sounds pretty good. So we're back doing a bonus live stream of Resident Evil 2. Tonight's going to be a lot of fun. We both love this game. It's a game that got us both into the series. You know, the Resident Evil 2 is what got me in, you too. And so we're just going to be casually hanging out with you guys, playing the game, reminiscing, talking about the documentary some more. If you have any questions, there is a Q&A tab. You can leave a question there. It's easier because the chat sometimes can get a little wild and we miss questions. But if you post it in that Q&A tab, there's a good chance, we'll for sure read it, right? So yeah, leave a question about the documentary, George Romero, Resident Evil, anything for Brandon. Yeah, leave it in that. It's linked in the chat. Thank you all for coming by. We'll begin shortly. We do a 5 minutes starting soon. 5 to 10 minutes just chatting, lets us catch up and hang out with you guys, and then we jump into the game. So if you're watching the replay, do not worry. We'll have timestamps linked down below, so you can jump to whichever portion of the stream you'd like. Brandon, I'm going to put you on the spot. How was your trip to the middle of nowhere?
My trip was actually really good. I did not get any sleep.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very uneventful. Not fast enough to get over here because I hate flying.
Yeah, I didn't know you hated flying.
I absolutely despise flying.
Really? Okay, well, you learn something new every day. Yeah, no, the stream went really well last night. It would have been cool if we could have filmed what we were discussing, but like, again, like we tried what we could do, and it's just like, yeah, if we're gonna do it right, and you know, some technical issues. But now stream number 2, and then tomorrow you'll be flying back out. And no, it's been such a good time, and like I said earlier, like you're always welcome to come here if you ever want to join us again. And it seems like you guys, oh, his mic is very low. Oh yeah, you want to get a little closer to that, but I'll turn you up a little bit.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun being here in the studio. A lot of great time discussing things, talking business, just hanging out. Yeah. Playing games. So yeah, I love this. Yeah,
you definitely got to do it again in the future. But it ain't over yet because we're about to jump into Resident Evil 2. Much better. Thank you guys for the feedback on the audio. I appreciate that. If you could, because we were kind of like stretching for time. We were going to go live earlier, and then my wife called me and said, the water on the fridge won't shut off. So I was like, Brandon, buckle up. You're coming over to my house. We're going to get that water shut off. And we were ripping out the fridge, and finally you just shut all the valves off. And we're like, okay, it's done. I'm going to have to figure this out tomorrow because we got to go live. But yeah, dealt with a little bit of a crisis there, and now we're back here. And yeah, we're going to do Claire A. We're going to do the canonical way. What I would like to discuss a little bit in this, maybe a bit, if we're keeping it in line with last night, I'd like to discuss a little bit of the George Romero Resident Evil 2 live action trailer. I think there's some cool things that we could talk about in there because, you know, that's actually what made me, I heard they were doing a movie. And this is when the internet was garbage, and I would sit there and wait for pages to load because I was trying to figure it out. And then the first image I seen was George Romero's trailer, and I didn't know there was a trailer, so I thought that was a movie. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is crazy!" You know. And I'm trying to. I think I had pictures of Leon and Claire on my wall because I printed them out. I thought it was so cool. Eventually, I found out that wasn't it. That was a trailer because I finally got a clip of it, and I was like, "That's not the full movie. What is this?" And I realized it was a trailer, but it was really cool because it was like that same feeling of watching the Resident Evil 1 live action intro, but now seeing 2, and I love 2. And I became fascinated with that, and that kind of has gone down in my history as being like one of those really cool things to look back at and see, you know, and that's a taste of what George Romero's, a small taste of what George Romero's Resident Evil would have been like because it was directed by George Romero.
Yep.
Yeah, and that's all in the documentary. Yeah. That's all in the documentary, and you dive pretty far into that, which I appreciated because I was like, yeah, this shit I want to really hear about. So yeah, if you didn't know that, there you go, fun fact. But yeah, we'll probably jump into that a little bit, and then just kind of like our history of growing up with this game. So yeah, we are playing the Seamless HD project though, so it's gonna look really clean. If you'd like to download this, I will include a link in the description after the video. Thank you so much. We got over 200 people here. We appreciate you. Please let us know how the audio levels are with the game. I want to make sure everything's balanced. And if you enjoy this, hit that like button. If we hit 750 likes tonight, we will gift out 5 Rose Squad members. And if we hit 50 members, we will gift out another 5 Rose Squad members. So there's a chance to get 10 members gifted tonight. But we just appreciate you guys coming by. So sit back, relax, and I hope you enjoy it. Real quick, shout out to Yova Rods with the $2 super chat. Thank you for your support, Yova. Kicking off the super chats. Good morning, JJ, Corey, and Rose Squad, and Brandon. I should probably clarify, Corey's not here.
Yes.
He actually wasn't able to make it today because he said he was not feeling well at all. So hopefully speedy recovery for him. But yeah, so it's just going to be Brandon and I tonight. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Zachary's Gaming Experience, welcome to Rose Squad Alpha Team, the winning team. Thank you so much for your support. Member number 1 tonight, and Brandon is an honorary captain of the Rose Squad Alpha Team. Thank you for your support, and yeah, let's all welcome Zachary back to the Rose Squad, I should say. All right, I think that's about all I had to say. Yeah, here's to Corey getting well. Yeah, let's hope he gets well. We're going to do Claire A. If we have time, we're going to jump into Leon B, because I do feel like playing Leon or Claire A, Leon B, like the full experience is like the way to do it, but it's late, so we'll see how far we get. And if you guys are enjoying it too, let us know. All right, that's all I got. I'll stop rambling now. Brandon, anything you want to say before we jump into the game?
I'm just happy to be here. Thanks for everyone being here and for showing the support for the documentary. I'll try and be as entertaining as I can, answer questions. If you have any questions about the documentary, or if you just have any questions in general that you want me to answer, I'm happy to do so, because I love Resident Evil. So
hell yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna be kicking it off.
Heck yeah.
And before we begin, I got to give a massive shout out to John D. Melancholy, who just gifted 5 Rose Squad memberships. Holy shit, we're already at 6 members. Thank you so much, John D, for the very generous support and growing the Rose Squad. Everybody give it up to John D. Let's welcome our 5 new members. What a way to kick it off. Here we go. Resident Evil 2, baby. They boot up the game. What?
My phone was going off. It's my buddy watching me on here going,
oh, really?
I love the fact that you're sitting there drinking a beer.
Oh, yeah, it's your last night. Here, you got to enjoy yourself, right? TikTok is gone. Yeah, I heard that. Brandon was just saying everybody was posting it in your Discord.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, TikTok died. Rest in peace. All right, how's that audio, guys? Hey, Coinstock with a $2 super chat. Thank you for your support. And the community loves you too, Brandon. That was very kind. Very kind.
Thank you.
All right. Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2. Game is super quiet. All right. I'll have to wait.
We're going normal mode, and I am going to try and get through the entire first area without picking anything up so I can get the Brad.
Oh, yeah, good call. Cool. You might want to get a little closer to your mic if you can. Game's a bit low, a bit quiet. Okay, I'll turn it up.
Eat this mic.
Yeah, pretty much. You want to get, you want to get that mic right up in there. All right, I turned the game up quite a bit. Let us know if that's better.
Bioweapon experiments.
It gets louder, though, after this cutscene.
The Raccoon City Police Department's Special Stars Unit immediately began investigation of the affair. The case was apparently closed, thanks to the efforts of STARS members.
Question tab should be at the top of the chat. Q&A. Have a question for Brandon? Let us know.
But the Umbrella Corporation's experiments were far from finished.
Yeah. Love this intro, by the way. When I first seen this, I was like, oh my god, the graphics are incredible.
Mm-hmm.
One thing also, too, like, look at that picture there. A lot of people are like, where does this game take place? But that was like a desert. I always like assumed that was like a desert she was driving into because it was all like sand.
Yeah, it's always hard to tell because I don't think they really wanted it to really be anywhere.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Springfield in The Simpsons.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It's just a...
And then I think it slowly is kind of morphed to where it's in Missouri.
Oh, okay. Missouri is where they... And I always liked that this was a much smaller town. It seemed more like secluded from everything.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in 3 they go to a bigger city, but I like the smaller town Vibe. Guy's a maniac. Why did you bite me? Yeah. Hey, did you know that's the same model as Kendo?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
And there's actually a zombie in Leon's opening that's just a zombie version of him.
Yeah. Yeah. What, in the car?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the car.
It's the car.
I call it Evil Leon Noel. Yeah. I'll repost the Q&A right after this.
And of course, they redo the Resident Evil 1.
Oh, yeah, the head turn.
Zombie.
That's Bill the zombie, dude. I don't know why, but he reminds me of a Bill.
I'm sorry I bothered you, okay? Just don't come any
Oh, Lion's lost. Oof. Andrew's here in the chat. Sorry to hear that, Andrew.
Oh, yeah. How's it going, Andrew?
Yeah, thanks for coming by, dude. The graphics is awesome. Glad you're liking it. That's a seamless HD project. Could you imagine if he shot first and asked questions later? This game would have been very different.
Yeah.
Boom, get down.
Get
down. We can't stay out here. Head to the police station. It'll be a lot
Leon.
safer.
No, this looks great, but watch this right here. Look how weird their running is. I never noticed it until they clean it up so much where you can actually see some of the, you know, it looked a little goofy there, but I mean, still, it's looking crisp as hell. And you are getting some questions we'll read after the cutscene. This looks so clean. It's the cleanest you can get it.
Could you imagine if, like, all the residents of Raccoon City in this,
Yeah.
like, if Leon was from here, and then Chief Irons and all them, if they all talk like Kendo?
Oh, who are you? What are you doing here? What are you doing here, girly?
Get down!
Yeah, I like that, dude. I'd take a mod of that.
The Kendo mod.
Oh, I love that. Kendo's cut, uncut. Yeah, those are great. Some of my favorites, actually.
Hey, could you open the glove box?
Please. I'd like to be alone right now.
Yeah.
Chief Irons talking like a redneck.
That'd be great, dude. Did Brandon see any of my comments about his beard yesterday? Did you read any of Andrew's comments about your beard?
I saw a few comments about beards. I couldn't read who was actually, like, saying what. I could just read some of the text.
I had it too small.
Yes.
Yeah. Thought I had it at 150, but it was at 125. He's gonna ram us.
So we have one here from Zachary Gaming Expo.
I was gonna read that, but I was gonna wait till after the cutscene because right now the game is like loud. So
okay.
Might not. Yeah, I'll go through and I'll read them to you. Well, I just want to wait till after the cutscene so it didn't get muffled out, and because you gotta make sure you're talking to the mic, because they won't hear you.
You gotta eat it.
I'm gonna check the audio levels real quick.
Okay.
They were parted by unescapable something.
Oh my god.
I can hear us good.
Oh, this.
Oh,
I don't like this. Do we have the D-pad? Oh yeah.
oh
There
yeah,
we
you
go.
got the D-pad. Yeah, I never use a joystick. It fucks me up.
This is already messing me up.
You had to get reused to the controls.
Yeah, I don't like Xbox controllers.
Kendo's my favorite character in the game.
Freeze! Who are you? What are you doing here?
Don't shoot! I'm a human!
Ooh, good.
Sorry about that, babe.
I like the babe and sugar tits that he says. It's very 90s. He doesn't actually say sugar.
I ain't got no clue, darling.
By the time I noticed something was wrong, the entire city was infested with zombies.
No birthday party in here. Was there supposed to be a birthday party? We gotta have a birthday party. How's it going, Carrier? Oh yeah, you're not taking anything, eh? Why? Yep. So I'm gonna read. We got a question here from Zachary's Gaming Experience. Do you know what cameras were used to shoot the film?
For the documentary, we mostly shot on a Panasonic S5 and a Blackmagic Pocket Cinema 4K.
Nice.
Toward the end, we okay. What button do I use?
To shoot. You don't got to equip, probably. Oh, you do. Oh, it's X and A.
Oh, this is...
Yeah, it takes me to get used to. Hey, if you shoot them, how are they going to break that open?
There's another one that shows up.
Oh.
Watch.
I thought if you kill them, you're screwed. So right now, you're just getting used to the controls because it's set up for when I was speedrunning. That was my control scheme. Bro, you might die at the beginning of the game. We had to cut this out and post and just say that never happened. Trust me, he's got this down.
These fucking controls suck. Give me a PlayStation controller.
That's like the same thing.
I'm literally going to die.
Yeah.
I can't pick anything up.
That's what makes it fun, is now we're like, oh shit.
Because
I got real.
I have to get bit.
Yeah, you can't, well, you can shoot. You just can't pick up any more ammo. Yeah, we'll see. Actually, we'll see if you get through.
I have 4 shots and I'm in danger.
Danger, Will Robinson. Highway to the danger zone. Dude, you might. Oh. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Metallica might get you. Oh, shit. That was good. Yeah, I invested hours and hours, hundreds of hours into this game, and I'm still learning shit.
Oh my god.
Oh, you got this.
Oh my god.
Damn. Coin stock. If you get to direct an RE movie, what in-game or canon area, setting, or location would you like to see included? Or would you like to include? Thank God feet zombies can't kill you. Nice, dropped his ass.
Now I got this fucking mess to go through.
You got her. So what happens when you get to Brad? You can't kill him. You don't got any ammo. Oh, once you get him, then you can go back and get ammo.
There's
Ooh.
Yep.
Oh!
There it was.
You got her. Do you want to practice controls a little bit more, or you want to switch them?
Let's, I'll tell you what, you take over. I got this far.
Yeah, you read your own questions. You got it. Coin stock is where we left off.
Coin stock. If you get to direct a Resident Evil movie, what in-game canon would you do? Actually, I have 2 different thoughts on this. Because JJ and I were actually talking about it. Regarding how much Constantine has overused a lot of the elements from the games. My personal feelings is you can't just cater to the fans for these movies because of the kind of budgets you have to put into them. And considering they haven't even adapted most of like one game, you can already see like the amount of money they put in just to do some of the game. You know, it would be very expensive. So you need a higher budget to actually adapt these games completely. And showing more than 4 monsters.
Yeah.
So you have to look at the fact that the general audience does support these films and are a large part of the audience that Paul Anderson has kind of built with the Alice films. The problem comes from the fact that they have never done any of the newer games after 4. So unfortunately, the T-Virus, Zombies, Umbrella, Raccoon City, all of it is so overused to this point that it's not really unique. Even like the Liquor, it's been overused compared to the amount of games that the Liquor has actually been in.
More hunters.
Yeah, more hunters. So, I would really love to do a trilogy of the first 3 games. I think it's a great storyline, doing the Raccoon City storyline, and then I think it's perfect. But from a business standpoint, it would be really hard to actually get a large amount of audiences that would really be interested in the story, because you kind of know a lot of it already. You know about Raccoon City, you know about T-Virus and Zombies. So part of me also likes the idea that I would want to work with Capcom to create a story, create characters that are connected to the events in some way, but create an original story that's still canon to the games. I wouldn't want to make it its own universe, its own canon. I would want to make it connected to the games, but do it in a way where we can offer audiences something new where you won't know what's happening, but also not trying to undermine all the work that Capcom has put into the games, nor disregard all the things that the fans love about the video games. So that would be my take. It would have to be in a partnership with Capcom where they could help design monsters, come up with characters, help come up with the scenario, and then go from there. It would not be like just me creating everything, because then it's not going to feel legit. It's not going to feel like it's really canon. What do we got here now? Redacted says, will we see a live-action Chris Redfield punch a boulder? Probably when they run out of ideas. That'll be in the next Constantine film.
His buttons were a little funky. It took me a second to get figured out because this is supposed to be my run button, not shoot.
Yeah, I'm so used to the PlayStation controls that I think the HD remaster of Remake has funky controls too.
Does it? I'd have to go back and play it to remember, but I played so many mods and stuff and they all have different setups and I always I get used to different things.
Hang in
What do we
there.
got here?
Are you the only officer left in the building?
Do you think you could create
Claire,
a standalone
Claire
movie
Redfield.
series
for my brother
that is
Chris.
functionally a zombie movie that
over 10 days
ends
ago.
with the reveal of
Chris,
it being related
Jim
to
Barry.
RE?
Every last star's
I
team
mean,
member has disappeared.
Technically,
should've
you
listened to
could, but I
What
think
happened?
if it's found out that it's
About
connected to
2
Resident
months
Evil,
ago, there was this
Capcom would
incident
come knocking.
involving
Yeah.
Because
these
the only way you're
zombie-like
really going to get it
creatures
to really be connected to
mansion
Resident
located
Evil
in
is
the
by
outskirts
using
of
one
this
of the trademarks.
city.
So a character name,
Chris and the other stars
seeing the Umbrella
members
logo, even a
discovered
character that
Umbrella
looks similar, it's
was
gonna
behind
end up,
Yeah,
at the risk of
copyright.
their own
causing
lives.
some legal
But
trouble.
Yeah.
no one believed them.
Zachary's gaming experience. Thank you for that $2 super chat. I do think he's right. Brandon could pass as a good Chief Mendez, the big cheese. Dude, you can pull that off. You just got to get the hat and the big trench coat, and you be Spanish X. Hell yeah, dude.
But
And then Carrier with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Carrier. That's what I try to do with Carrier, original characters that exist between the narrative nooks, crannies of the game story that don't retcon anything. You do a fantastic job of doing your own original thing within the world. I love that.
I was just watching some of your videos last week. Very good work. Very good.
Did you know that I'm going to be Barry in his next one? Young Barry?
No shit.
Yeah. That was fun. That's why I got that gear that Bob was wearing earlier.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
This is Barry when he was in, like, the SWAT. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Ooh, the main hall theme. This game just, every time I play it, no matter how many times I play it, it just nostalgia blast every time. The music, the areas. And we were talking about this earlier because we were checking out Resident Evil 1.5 and how cool, fascinating it is to go back through and check it out, what could have been. But God, thankfully they scrapped it because that created now my favorite game of all time. You know what I mean? Like, this game is perfect. I wouldn't want to see it any other way. I'm going to go kill Brad now. I think I might need more ammo, though, to kill him.
The liquor window sequence is fucking amazing. That there scared the shit.
Scared the shit up. We're like, what was that? What was that?
It's a very effective scare.
Yeah.
And it's not even...
Actually,
it's a very effective use of a jump scare.
Yep.
No loud sounds. You just hear the quick click, click.
And it was so fast the first time you play it, you're not looking there. So when you see it, you're like, what the hell did I just see? What the hell was that? I like in Kendo's cut how it's him standing outside the window. Oh, the game is great.
What we got there? Just watched the documentary. Absolutely amazing. And I love that the zombie's name in the credits is Martin Crackhorn.
I didn't realize that. That's a good catch.
Yeah. We have a lot of stuff for the fans in there. From props to how we did the the quotes, you know, like little nods to the series here and there. So again, the documentary was made by fans for fans. So I'm really happy that you enjoyed it.
Dropped his ass for a second. Shit, I keep hitting the wrong button. Yeah, I don't remember what I had my controls set to. Well, this ain't it. Oh, my beats! You son of a bitch! Brad, you chicken shit motherfucker! That's for my brother.
Oh, poor Brad. He's always losing his head.
So technically that would be not canon, which it's really cool, and I loved it when I found out about it. It was like mind-blowing. What? But then in 3, they kind of retconned that.
Oh, it's Benjamin Mori. Did he not know about the Brad zombie? He said, "What the fuck, boss zombie?"
Really?
Yep, he's a secret zombie that's very difficult, but you get the locker room key off of him. That's how you can change your costumes. And Claire gets a fucking single action army pistol.
That's cool, yeah.
6-shooter, shoots really fast.
Yeah.
For my run through, I always use it. You piss through ammunition, but it's awesome.
Yeah.
Hip shooting.
We'll do something different because I played this so many times. Everybody's used to my speedrun practices that I want to do it a little different. I want to change my outfit. I want to use different guns. I'm going to fuck around a little bit more, just kind of like checking things out and getting things. Because I never ran Claire's scenario, only Leon's.
For those that don't know, originally with this scene, when she was walking up, you would actually see the police officer behind her that's decapitated. His head would actually fall down first.
It was in a version I played, like it was an early version, but you would see the head drop, and they removed that. But I thought that was pretty cool. I was like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that. I think it was the 1997 demo, maybe? It was something, I can't remember, but there was an early version that had that. And it's available.
Like, there's a lot of, like, really cool details if you look around in this game. I love the amount of details they put into this.
Oh, yeah. It's just... Some of the pre-render backgrounds, a fixed camera, like there's just so much more going on. It just feels more like fuller, I guess you could say. I'm not sure. See, I usually come in here and burn that as Leon, but I'm trying to think, what does she get in here? Because usually I thought there was pistol ammo, but that might be Resident Evil 3.
No, it's in the very back.
It is in the back. The pistol ammo?
Yeah.
Oh.
You go all the way in the back corner. It's in there somewhere.
It might be a version that has it, but the PC version might not, because I noticed they move ammo around.
What the fuck?
Yeah, there's different versions. So there's like the PC version, then there's a Source Next, then there's, the PlayStation, 64, Dreamcast, GameCube. But like they all have ammo and items in different places. They move things around.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, that's bullshit.
Yeah, what the hell? Forgot about that one over there.
Another question here from Kevstar. What aspect or themes do you wish the Resident Evil series would tackle? Ooh. Well, again, I like some of the themes that George Romero was doing in his script, where he was kind of tackling the concept of the military-industrial complex. More so from the perspective of like weapons development, really going into like the idea of something new that is discovered, and then the military aspect of it is how can we utilize this to advance military technology. So I like a lot of the themes that Resident Evil has tackled over the years. I think there's ways that they could probably enhance the games. I would like to see them get back to more of an outbreak type scenario. We got to see much more scenarios, like multiple outbreaks in Resident Evil 6, but I felt like the game moved so fast that you weren't really able to concentrate on just one area where it was done. I would like to see like a different type of area be covered, like say the American Southwest or the American Northwest, mountains and pine trees, and just, or like a desert scenario or something.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I like that.
Or I would love to see like Alaska. Just something that is a different scenario. Of course, they can go all around the world, but in terms of just recapturing the same feel that you get from a lot of the older Resident Evil games.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to see another Outbreak type game. I don't think you'd ever see Outbreak 3, but if you could do some sort of game that is similar to Outbreak with a bunch of scenarios. I think I was talking before with one of my friends where I said it would be kind of neat if you could get a large open world that acts as a hub with its own dangers and secrets within, but then you have Outbreak type location based scenarios that you could go to.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, it'd be kind of like, you know, if they had the streets connecting each of the scenarios in Outbreak, and you got to travel between them.
Yeah.
Like, I think that would be pretty neat. I know there was rumors for Resident Evil 9 being open world, maybe in like the wilderness. I was like, that would be neat. You know, very, very Alan Wake. But I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Corey and I said the Outback, Australia.
Yeah,
imagine zombie kangaroos.
Yeah,
and all the
you
fucking...
can get Greg to come back.
Yeah, Greg can come back and do his own voice. That'd be wild. Rest in peace, TikTok. Everybody, rest in peace, TikTok in the chat. I personally don't really ever use TikTok, so I don't mind, but I know it's pretty upsetting to a lot of people. It's very addicting. It may be best that it's gone. I don't know. Other people just do it anyway, so.
Let's see here.
Yes.
Zoli.
This outfit's thick.
If
Sorry.
Arkley, the Resident Evil show that we could have gotten, managed to come to fruition, what would you be excited for or would like the show to have? Honestly, I wouldn't want it to have a lot of fan service. I would have liked to have seen the show done as a police procedural, but within like the cannibal murders and how the RPD was dealing with on a day-to-day basis with the mounting bodies that were being found, as well as all like the weird reports. Excuse me. I like the idea that, at least in the original game they covered it, was the idea that people were actually seeing monsters in the mountains, and you were getting a lot of weird rumors and just wild stories. In amongst, you know, a lot of other weird things that were going on in the city, because even in Resident Evil 2, they're talking about the police were seeing like operatives in the city, like strangers and stuff in the sewers, and they're following up on all these leads. There was a lot of stuff going on between Umbrella operatives running around, probably trying to do tests and figure out, like, is there an outbreak, you know, getting evidence, and trying to destroy stuff.
Spaghetti arms. I actually forgot about that. Shit, those spaghetti arms.
That always gets me.
Yeah.
I always forget about them.
It's like I know, but I just forgot for some reason. Like, god damn it. There's things that do that. Like, sometimes I'll be like, I knew that. What the hell? This ugly son of a bitch.
But no, I would really like to see that, and then also them dealing with the bureaucratical red tape because of cheap irons.
Yeah.
I think you could have a really cool detective type show dealing with that.
To that, the only thing I would like to see about any of the characters that already exist in the game is maybe them in passing, or just a reference to them hiring Leon, them talking about Leon, but not actually, you know, showing like, oh, this is Chris talking to, you know, just like that's in the background. That would be cool.
That was the only thing that I kind of missed regarding some of the concepts with 1.5.
Yeah.
Because they had artwork showing like some of the characters that they were creating, like Roy. Roy was friends with Leon and Chris, and I think it was Joseph. So there were like group artwork of them, just showing that they all knew each other, because in 1.5 Leon was a new officer, but he was already in the city when the outbreak occurred. And that's one thing that I wish they had done here, so he could have had more of a connection to the RPD and knowing the characters. Like, to me, it would have been neat to have where Claire doesn't know who these people are, but if you inspect the body, like, Leon could like be like, oh, poor David. You know?
Oh yeah.
That would have been kind of neat and given like a different context between the two scenarios.
Yeah.
Well, let's see here. If you were to do a film adaptation of your choice of the Resident Evil games, which game would you do and why? I kind of covered that a little bit earlier, that it would really depend on how I was feeling, because I kind of think that due to the amount of movies, the TV show, them regurgitating a lot of the same elements, like Raccoon City, the T-Virus, zombies, it starts to become really difficult to try and adapt some of the games. Like, because you already had Wesker in there, and Chris and Leon. These characters and their stories have kind of been shown. Whether they were correct or not is besides the point. I feel like some audiences would feel like it's retreading the same stuff over and over. But as a fan, I would love to try and do the original trilogy: Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3. So I'd want to start with 1, and I'd want to stick just to the lore that's within the games themselves. I know there's, a lot of additional lore that's over there, but if you're only running like a 2-hour runtime, maybe with Resident Evil 2, you'd have to go a little bit longer if you're going to try and mix the scenarios, the A and B scenarios, but I'd start with Resident Evil 1 and then just see if it works.
Yeah.
Hopefully it would
do it right,
yeah.
And then branch off from there.
I mean, each one has a different feel.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 1 is, obviously a haunted house type scenario. It's old dark house type concept. This has a lot of elements of, Assault on Precinct 13. And
Claire, you made it.
For me, Resident Evil 1 is the hardest game to adapt because the story doesn't lend itself to a lot of logic. Progress is done in a video game-like manner. The characters don't have a lot of motivations for the things that they're doing, whereas in Resident Evil 2, the characters are trying to escape the RPD because it's becoming overrun with zombies, and they have plenty of sequences that show that the RPD is not safe anymore.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps progressing from there, where they're constantly forced to continue because each area they go to is not safe. Resident Evil 3 is the same way. You're constantly on the move because Nemesis is tracking you and you're trying to escape the city.
Be like a good Terminator style movie. 3. Shout out to Don't Get Mad Fucker with a $5 super chat. I'll try not to get mad, all right? But don't call me a fucker. Thank you. Why don't they just make a movie about the origin story of the doctors that created the virus led up to Resident Evil 1 and 0? You actually touched on this yesterday. I'll let you take it over.
A lot of that was because I know a lot of people want to see like stories like that, or the George Trevor files, or they want to see the STARS members before Resident Evil 1. But in my personal opinions, when you try and do stories like that, it unless you're getting to the themes and the types of elements that are within the games, meaning the monsters, the puzzles, resource management, the survival horror aspects of the game, I don't think it's going to feel like Resident Evil at all. It's going to feel like something else, like a STARS movie that shows their missions before the outbreak. It's going to feel like the movie SWAT. Like the only thing that really can grasp you is the idea that you're seeing those characters, but there's going to be nothing there that's going to feel like Resident Evil. Same thing with the doctors creating the T-Virus. The backstories are there as backstory just to fill in the events of the game, but the events by themselves might not actually be that interesting unless you were possibly trying to do, say, the Arkley incident, where you're watching the infection happen, like the Keeper's Diary, where you're watching how they're getting infected. They're trapped in the labs, they can't get out, and it starts feeling like George Romero's Day of the Dead, where it's all doom and gloom, and these scientists are doing experiments while everything around them is just falling apart. I think that could be an interesting scenario.
That's pretty cool.
And of course, you get a George Romero type ending. Everyone dies.
Yeah, I do. We were talking about that too. Movies like Night of the Living Dead, and like The Mist. Like we were saying, like it's fucking dark when that happens. but like it's pretty like when it's done not tastefully, not like forced, but like it actually like gets to that point where they all die. I appreciate that they go there because it's a very risky thing to do. A lot of people want to see the hero survive and save the day, but sometimes it just doesn't work out, you know. And it's nice to see like a different take on it, you know, where it's like, oh shit, man, that was a journey, but damn, they're all dead, you know. I like when movies take the chance and do it as long as it fits.
So we have here Zachary Gaming Expo says, have you worked on any other productions besides Resident Evil? I have worked on 4 productions. I was on set for a few days for The Keeper's Diary. That's when JJ brought me out to be interviewed. I was here for a few days to kind of hang out, watch the production. So I ended up picking up a paintbrush and a hammer. And I started like working on the sets. So the lab set that you see in The Keeper's Diary, I did a lot of the painting for that. I had help, obviously. It wasn't just one person, but I kind of took charge of trying to get the lab set done, and then I added some details to the hallway in The Keeper's Diary. So I tried to make myself useful here and just kind of help build and finish some stuff.
Good attention to detail. Little things like that, like, and that was like everybody involved kind of like pitching a little bit of like maybe this here, but it all added to the final product, right? It made it feel more believable, more lived in, more real. And I think everybody like, and you with those, like it really contributed to those shots.
The other thing that I worked on was I helped co-finance and produce a concept film for Knight Riders 2, which is a sequel to a George Romero film. That was directed by George Demick, who was George Romero's apprentice, and he was on set for Knight Riders, and then he was a zombie in Day of the Dead, and he was great friends with George Romero for like probably 40 years. So it was really cool. We were trying to pitch that. Unfortunately, it didn't go ahead, but we did film the concept. It was like a 20-minute short film. You know, we had like knights in armor on motorcycles jousting just like in the movies, and some different scenes that we shot. But it was good, and you know, George Demick was happy. He felt like he had lived his dream of making a sequel to George Romero's film, and it's his favorite film. So I was really happy to actually assist in like getting his dream to come true for what he felt was he felt strongest about Knight Riders, because it was the first time he got to work with George Romero. So that was something that would never be replicated. It was the first time he gets to work on it.
Yeah.
And then last year, after we delivered everything with the documentary, I financed and produced a horror film directed by Tom Robinault, who was the cinematographer on the documentary. A film called Whistle to the Maples. The trailer is on the Point 5 Films webpage. It stars Charlie Krzyzlowski, and it also has Jim Crut from Dawn of the Dead. It has another actor that he showed up to a convention that Charlie and I were at promoting the documentary, and we got to talking. He was a huge fan. He loved everything he's seen from the documentary, and then he handed us a business card just saying, "Hey, I'm an actor." So months and months went by, and then I texted him and said, "Hey, would you want to read for this role?" And he ended up getting the part, and he got to act opposite of Charlie in every scene, and it was like the dream come true for him. So that was really cool. And then it also has Hunter Redfern, who was in Wendigo, and quite a few other films. So great cast. Really loved it. I loved working with Jim Crut from Dawn of the Dead. Jim's an awesome guy. He is a saint. I've gotten to know him very, very well. Jim Crut played the helicopter zombie in the original Dawn of the Dead that gets the top of his head cut off. Really wonderful person. He's also in the documentary. It was kind of weird. It turned out he lived like 30 minutes away from me. So crazy. It's like, wow, this is a small world. Yeah. So I've gotten pretty close to him. And then right now we are in development of the adaptation of Faith, the Unholy Trinity, which is a video game, a horror game made by Airdorf Games. So that's being made with Steve Barton of Terrifier 2, he's going to be an executive producer. George Demick, executive producer. Tom Robnault's coming back as cinematographer. We have George Demick's son, Carson. We have a good friend named Chris McGibbon. He's producing. And the script is going to be written by John Esposito, who wrote the script for Graveyard Shift. He's written the Walking Dead webisodes, which he won an Emmy for, and they were directed by Greg Nicotero, who worked with George Romero and does the special effects. And then John also wrote episodes of Creepshow, which is the TV spinoff of George Romero's Creepshow movie. So we have a lot of George Romero type people connected to Faith. You know, it's going to be like an old style Exorcist meets Evil Dead type movie. And our goal now is to try and adapt it as close to the game as possible while making it feel like an older horror film, because that's where a lot of our hearts lie. We love practical effects. We like the look of film. We like just the way movies were shot, 40 years ago. So we're trying to aim for that style of movie and not cater to modern sensibilities when it comes to how a movie is made. And then I also have another documentary in the works with a lot of the same people. Oh, and JJ is a producer on the Faith movie as well.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
But we have another documentary in the works. It is not with Resident Evil, though that doesn't mean that I might not do more Resident Evil in the future.
You're turning your back on us. You son of a bitch.
So more information will come out about the documentary in the future. It's just that for now, we're just trying to get a lot of the interviews locked, a lot of bigger names involved, and yeah. So far everything's going good. I have some meetings coming up for the location that's going to be used, and yeah, I'm very excited on how everything is progressing. It's been a weird dream to get to the point that I'm getting with my career. What do we have here?
Gun is fucking awesome, dude. I never used it before. I use it.
Love this gun.
I don't normally use it.
You got to watch because she'll just like spray ammo, and half the time the zombies are already falling.
Yeah.
Would Resident Evil be better off in a new miniseries format or as a movie? Give the team more time to build the tension and love instead of being confined to a 2-hour runtime. I don't know, honestly. I think you would end up getting a lot of padding, and I believe that's one of the issues. Like, there's some series like on Netflix where you can feel like it's been expanded too far, like more than what it needs to be. I don't think some of the early games really need to be a miniseries unless you're going to spend at least half the time building up to the events of the game. And you would really have to have some very interesting stories to actually keep the tension going, because how many scenes could you honestly do of just people doing crime scenes and stuff? You would really have to expand it. But it could be done. I'm not saying it's impossible. It would just have to be the right scripts and the right stories being told to lead up to the events. I just couldn't see, say, 8 hours of scenes inside the Spencer Mansion, or 10 1-hour episodes of Resident Evil 2. I think to some extent the pacing would be off, and you would really be stretching the story beyond what it needs to be. But it could be done.
Could be. We got Goblin Grundle with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Goblin. I just watched the documentary. So cool. I, for one, adore the weird farty horn synth in the original Kitchen Basement. You're the first person I heard say that. I like it in a God, that was so bad, it's good kind of way, because you've heard it so many times. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's wild. And glad you like the documentary, man.
Thank you. I thank you very much.
Oh.
Then we got Evil Neighbor, 16 months recruit. Thank you for over a year. Happy Saturday. Would you ever play The Evil Within? I have played 2 before. At some point in the future, yeah, we probably will because so many people ask us, but I just don't know when.
No,
Nope.
don't.
And then Adazukin with a $7 super chat. Thank you so much, Adazukin. Watching the surprise stream while waiting on my luggage. The holiday is officially over. I'm sorry to hear that. Hopefully we can keep you a little entertained. I know it's depressing to end a holiday, but thanks for your support, Adazukin. And then you got it?
Who we have here? Chucky Extremist Circus. Chucky's Extremist Circus for
oh, I missed that one. Sorry.
$6.99 chat. Fuck, it went.
And it's gone.
Turn into a zombie within the hour.
Hey Brandon, what do you think of making the first 3 games based on the S.D. Perry novels? Are you talking about as the using the novels as source material for movies? I've actually talked about this before in fan groups. I love the novels. I think they were very well written. I don't think they would translate well to movies. And the reason why is not just because of, a lot of it is done as characters' thoughts, but S.D. Perry does the smart thing where she doesn't actually show every single room and area, but actually has the characters summing it up inside of their heads. And, a lot of the novel really is, it's Chris Redfield stands in this room staring at the 3 zombies that he just shot, and then checks his ammo, noticing he only has 7 rounds. He shot 3 rounds into the zombies, and he used 4 in the previous room to shoot 2 zombies. That kind of stuff doesn't translate into a movie. So it could be done. I've seen fan scripts based on the S.D. Perry novels, but sometimes they do feel a little bit like a live action walkthrough when you read them. And honestly, there's certain things that I enjoy as a fan that she doesn't cover. Like, she misses certain things that I as a fan enjoy. So for example, I don't think she ever did the slideshow in the first novel.
Yeah, I forget little details a lot like that because I can't remember if she talked about it or not. Yeah,
like one of the I'm not sure if it was like she had a page count limit or a word count limit, but for whatever reason she does an absolute awesome job adapting the Spencer Mansion in the RPD, even though she didn't use a lot of the puzzles. But the Spencer Mansion, for example, absolutely fucking awesome. But then, like, there's hardly ever any focus on the labs. In, like, every game, like, or every novel, the labs are, like, very, very short, condensed. She's getting into the ending, the climax, and there's never really, like, much exploration of the labs. And that's something I miss because, for me, like, when you got to the labs in Resident Evil 2 and even Resident Evil 1, you're like, what the hell is going on here? Yeah. Like, there's the morgue in Resident Evil 1, the morgue in the lab, and all the bodies laying there, the body bags. Yeah. And it was creepy because you didn't know if they were going to come out of the body bags at you. And you just weren't sure what to expect. So Chief? I miss certain moments that are just missing in the novels, but I love them. And I actually think out of all her game adaptations, Nemesis was probably the best one. She did an absolute wonderful job adapting that game and hitting almost like every single mark. It made me really like Nikolai a lot better. I felt like she really took the time to adapt that character and make him an interesting villain that felt different from Wesker and Chief Irons. So, I mean, I think if you had to start with her novels, but then you had to change a lot because of the way that she wrote the book, it starts breaking down to, what was the point then if you had to change so much to get it built into a movie, because then you're basically having to give credit to an author that, in the long run, you had to change a lot of stuff anyhow. I think the novels work great as a novel, but a movie is going to have a completely different feel, but that's fine because I think the game should work as a game and feel like a game. The movies should feel like very cinematic, and the novels themselves have the time to go in depth into the characters and create a completely different experience. Let's see here. Is the Claire A or B scenario, and did you guys watch the Romero commercial before you started? I just got here. We are playing Claire A, and while we didn't show it on the stream, JJ and I did actually watch the Romero commercial. He was showing me like a higher quality version of it.
From Bzerv.
Yeah.
Bzerv does a great job remastering the original cutscenes and trailers and stuff. Yeah, that was like showing him, just like, look how freaking good this looks.
Maybe once we're done, we should show it off.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. At the end of the stream, yeah, we'll showcase that trailer.
Let me
do a little watch party of it. To everybody that's joining, guys, thank you so much for coming by. I'm having a lot of fun with this because I ran Leon A so much that it's really cool and refreshing to go through Claire B or Claire A. But this is Claire A. This is the canonical way to play. Hate the dogs. Get out of here, mutt. But it's, yeah, I always have fun playing Resident Evil 2, especially having Brandon here to have like kind of a different dynamic in the conversation, something more interesting that I don't normally touch on a lot. He's got a lot of insight into these kind of things, so I'm having a good time playing and listening to him discuss this stuff. But I do want to read Don't Get Mad Fucker with another $5 super chat. Thank you very much. I publish a psychological horror novel I want to see on big screen. What obstacles would I have to hurdle through for someone to find interest in it?
Well, I guess in the filmmaking business, everything is based upon money. You know, it has to be profitable. You'd have to have a large audience. You'd have to probably make reading lists or be able to show financials to say like, wow, this novel is a best-selling novel, and you know, if it's like a New York Times bestseller, you know, that instantly starts making producers try and look for, you know, like the next big thing. It doesn't mean that it's impossible to get it adapted. It just depends on like who's interested. But the hurdles really come down to like almost anything can be made into a movie. But you want to find the right creative team, people that actually understand the material. You can always just take the money and run. But I think it's much better to try and get your stuff adapted in a way that pays respect to what it is. Otherwise, you start to get films that were just made on the name value, rather than something that is honestly trying to stay true to what the original source material is about. And to me, that's a much better thing, because you can honestly build an audience off of that. You can build a core audience that absolutely loves what you've done, rather than trying to cater to as wide of an audience as possible. I don't really have any answers for you, because I've never, you know, been in that situation of how do you get a movie or a novel that's published turned into a film. Usually if you have an agent or something, maybe they can help out, a manager of some kind, but sometimes it just takes, you know, calling around and seeing who's interested. But a lot of it is just networking.
Wait, Sherry, don't go
alone.
alone.
But profitability, notoriety, those kind of things help, and sometimes you get people calling you.
Yeah. Networking, yeah, is huge, man. When I first went to Gamescom, I was like, I didn't know what to expect, because I'd never been to a big event like that. And by the end of it, I was like, it was a lot of networking, meeting different people that were interested in you, your audience, what you know, how you could collaborate together. And I didn't know that side of it. I just like making videos, dude. I was like, I never knew about all this behind the scenes stuff and companies and sponsors and all this. Like that was pretty wild.
Let's see here. If Resident Evil Outbreak was remade, unlikely, then how would you approach the story and the 8 playable characters? You know, honestly, with if we're talking about being remade as a game, honestly, I would like to see it done exactly the same. I don't think there's anything wrong necessarily with the game as it is. Now, if we're talking about, you know, changing the gameplay to be a little bit more modern, maybe it's going to play more like Resident Evil 2 Remake, that could work too. But I wouldn't want to see a lot of major changes. You know, the scenarios would have to be the same. Honestly, I would like to see them make a third game just to get the rest of the scenarios done. They had a bunch of scenarios that they just never completed because they were planning to do a File 3, which I think would have had the remainder of the scenarios in it. But they scrapped it because, unfortunately, as many fans as there are for Outbreak, it seems to be something that has grown over the years, but the fans were not there when the games were released, and partly because the game was too far ahead for its time. You know, online gaming was for like home consoles was still in its infancy compared to how it is now. So it's like it's kind of weird to think that back then you had to buy additional hardware
to get it set up.
What was it, like $100 or something?
I'm not sure how much it cost, but I know like people like where we live, we had dial-up.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't do that on dial-up. You know, DSL is where it's at, and only like certain people within town limits had DSL at that time. So it was something we couldn't even do. But yeah, ahead of its time for sure.
Yeah, it was just weird that you had to buy like attachments and stuff.
Yeah, you did.
To get onto it. You know, compared to now.
It makes it so unaccessible for most people.
Over here. I want you to stay with me.
Let's see here. What the hell do I do if I feel like I have a good story but don't know how to direct? Been writing a script for a few years. Honestly, if you're not sure how to direct, then the best thing to do is, you know, you have an entire library of videos on YouTube that can teach you how to direct. That can basically teach you almost anything that you want to know on YouTube. It's just a matter of looking for it and then studying it, and then continue studying it until you feel comfortable. But you can always partner up with a production company. Every state, every place in the world has a bunch of indie companies that just want to make movies. So just finding people that are willing to work with you, that can teach you how to do things, you know, that's another good way. Usually the majority of established directors will tell you, just jump into it and make something. You know, don't wait for the perfect script. Don't wait for the perfect time in your life to do it. Just do it. Learn from your mistakes, keep growing, keep learning, and, you know, eventually it'll be made.
We got the Red Queen with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for your support, the Red Queen. You want to read that because I don't want to get got by this hunter.
Which one was it?
The Red Queen.
What do you think of them deciding to remake Resident Evil 0, a live-action adaptation soon after than Resident Evil 1? Well, again, I think part of it, too, is just coming down to the fact that they just made a Resident Evil 1 adaptation. Yeah, it had Resident Evil 2 in it, but it still was the events, and that's how the producers are going to look at it. I have no idea about what all is going to entail with this new version of Constantine Films is doing. I've heard different details. JJ was filling me in with some stuff that I was like, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how rumors are.
And it sounded like shit.
Yeah, it's the only stuff that I knew was just from the paperwork filed with the Canadian government for tax breaks, and they just had a synopsis that sounded like Resident Evil 0. But outside of that, I really don't know what to think, because I don't know if they're somehow trying to connect it in the Welcome to Raccoon City. Is it a complete reboot? I really don't know, but I think part of the reason why they weren't going to immediately do Resident Evil 1 is because they showed that a lot for the marketing of Welcome to Raccoon City. They were showing those, you know, Chris and Jill and Wesker. So they're not going to do another one just a few years after the previous one. It sounds like to me like they want to do 0 because then they don't have to show those characters. But then if this one does well, then they can finally go and remake Resident Evil 1 as a film. And I don't know, you know, if they could make a decent Resident Evil 0, then maybe, you know, you would get a decent trilogy where it's 0, 1, and 2.
Yeah.
You know,
that might be cool. There might be something to it. I like that thought on it to stay positive.
Or maybe it's going to be 0, 1, and then 2, 3.
That would be cool, but I did read that if they wanted to tie it, the thing I read was that they wanted to tie it in with Welcome to Raccoon City as a prequel, and they wanted to include Ada, and I was like, all right, I'm already not liking this. Hey, Sphere Hunter's here. How's it going, Susie? Thanks for coming by. Hope you're having a good night as well.
Oh, the Sphere Hunter.
Drop him.
What do we have here? My only critique of the doc was the runtime. Wish it was longer. As for the question, if George was still alive, you think he'd do the doc or not be included, since that was a rough period for him? I don't know. He was always open to answering questions about it. And, you know, I believe he actually took a lot of high ground when it came to things. There was actually one interview sometime after Baron Eichinger had passed, where he had finally said his name. Prior to that, he would not say his name, and I think it was partially out of, you know, just a professional respect. While he's still alive, I'm not necessarily throwing his name around, but he did eventually, you know, say that it was Eichinger that he was having problems with. So I don't think he would have been opposed to it. George was never one to shy away from giving his feelings about certain things. You know, he said before, like, he doesn't like The Walking Dead, and he said that when it was extremely popular as a TV show, that he just did not like The Walking Dead. So I kind of wish I had, you know, the capabilities of making this 10 years ago, because I would have loved to have sat down and had a lot of my questions answered just from his thought process of, like, hey, what were you thinking about, you know, what was the reason why you made Chris not a STARS member, you know? What was the dynamic between Barry and Wesker? Was it because you were trying to do something similar to Peter and Roger? You know, I had these, like, certain things that, you know, I just wanted to know what his thought processes were. You know, why, regarding the Hunter, you know, why did you combine the idea with the Chimera? I mean, it sounded really cool. I'm not, you know, upset with his changes, because I understand what, you know, he had producer notes. He was trying to, you know, adapt the game, but he was under a lot of pressure to try and make it very cinematic and kind of make everything make sense. Because let's face it, you know, especially in the 90s, trying to adapt video games was pretty nuts, because they have a lot of weird stuff to them. You know, I can't imagine what it was like trying to adapt Super Mario Brothers as a movie and make that make sense. So it's, you know, these kind of things, like, at times, like, fans don't always really enjoy. But even films like the original Street Fighter movie have their own fans. And, you know, I for one, I love the 1994 Street Fighter movie for what it is.
I like it.
Very cheesy, but I you know, I think a lot of times fans can get very derogatory towards things and not say very nice things about some of the creative choices. But when you start learning about the human element, a lot of the emotion, you know, look at Street Fighter. Raul Julia decided to make Street Fighter his last film. He knew he was dying of cancer. He was terminal. And his children really loved Street Fighter, the video game. So, you know, Raul Julia had a large body of work. You know, he was another person who just seemed like a genuine, wonderful human being. And he chose to make Street Fighter as something that his children could enjoy. That they, you know, the last film that their father would work on would be Street Fighter. And to an extent, like, you know, he's dying and he's playing, you know, M. Bison. And he fucking killed that role. You know, it's very memorable. It's cheesy. He's chewing the scenery, but he also added a certain weight to that film that was just really awesome. You know, so I love that aspect of that kind of story, that, you know, that's what Raul Julia. He did it for his kids. And, you know, Romero, a lot of the people that Romero knew in the 90s, like, you know, his son was playing the video game and his assistant, and he had friends, you know, just talking to Christopher Stavrakis, you know, he was a huge Resident Evil fan back then. And I know George was like giving him like the treatment script and being like, hey, what do you think of this? You know, so that was pretty cool. That was the kind of guy George was. And he's like sharing his stuff with his friends that like the game. So
yeah. Let's catch up with we got a lot of super chats. We got Jimbo Ori with a $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Jimbo. He says, how are things? JJ, sorry I'm not here more. I just got my own things I'm doing. I hope you are doing well. Thank you very much, man, and I totally understand. That's what this channel is. You don't have to come by every time. We appreciate it, but people have real life. They have things going on, and that's totally fine. Whenever you get a chance to stop at the residence of people, you guys are always welcome. So thank you, man. Joker's Disciple with the $10 super chat. Thank you for that very generous support. Outbreak show. Time frame could be 1 week before the outbreak. The different character perspectives each day. Netflix RE had bad writing, unlikable character, smart characters making dumb decisions, etc. I always said an Outbreak show would be fantastic. I gave my thoughts on this a million times, but if you want to touch on it, you can go ahead, Brandon.
I think an Outbreak show could work. You know, eventually it would have to end, but that would be an interesting way of, if you looked at each season covering each one of the Outbreak games and ending it with a third season where you could go to Capcom and say, hey, what were all those other scenarios that you didn't get to complete, and you could actually build a third season that was all the stuff that they didn't get to do. Because I know they were planning to do I think there was one where you get to play like as like Hunk and the other
I think that might have been my mod.
No. Like there's material where there was a scenario where you get to interact with them. Like the different USS soldiers, because there's models for them. That are in the game files. There's some stuff where I think it's in like the cutting room floor. That website, they talk about it. I know there's one where you're at a motel. Yep. Not a hotel, but a motel.
There's the few things cut, right? So the files were in it, but yeah, that was cut. And I didn't know about the USS soldiers. When we had Allison Court on our podcast, she actually, every time she comes here, or every time we talk to her, she came here once, but we interviewed her over Discord before. But she drops details that I never knew. And it's really interesting to hear, because there was a lot of stuff that didn't make its way into the final game. And I would love to just do one podcast with her just talking about Outbreak, because she said there's tons.
What did she do for Outbreak?
She was the director of acting.
No shit.
Yeah. She was I can't think of the name for that. Something director, where you direct the actors. You know, the direct them in their performance.
Okay.
What is that? What is that word?
I mean, I don't know like the term, because that would probably be more like animation and video games, but it'd be like, I get what you're saying. It's for like the voice acting.
Yep. And and their performance, because a lot of that they actually had at that time. In Outbreak, they had motion capture. So she was doing a lot, like working with people a lot on that.
I really didn't know that. That's actually kind of neat that she was actually working on some of the other Resident Evil games.
Do you want to hear another fun fact?
Yeah.
Craig Bernatowski was one of the motion caption actors in the game, in Outbreak. He's also the voice of the new Albert Wesker in the Resident Evil 4 remake.
No shit.
So all these years later, he came back, and now he's Wesker, and he was in Outbreak.
Good.
Yeah, I thought he did a good job too. That was really cool, and she told us.
Even I learned about that. New. I mean, I got a wealth of knowledge, but I know some of the games I don't really know a lot about, even though I played them. But I know for like the originals, I've picked up a lot of information over the years, just being able to talk to private collectors and people that just collect information. And then, of course, just myself.
Susie said voice director. That's it. That's what it was.
Yeah. Voice director.
Thank you. I was blanking for some reason.
But yeah, I think an Outbreak show would be really awesome to do. But again, it's still treading the same ground where it's like back in Raccoon City, T-Virus. But I don't know. I think that would have been a much smarter way to go, at least to start. You know, there's a lot of different games I'd really like to see. It's a shame that, you know, we've had movies for almost 25 years now, and literally it just keeps going back to Raccoon City, T-virus, and zombies.
That's where it's at for a lot of people.
I mean, yeah, it's true, but you know, the games have really moved on and done different things. Like, just look at Revelations, where they had the T-Abyss virus and a lot of the weird monsters that came out of that.
There's other things, yes, but I don't think anything is like ingrained or iconic as like what Raccoon City did for the series. Like, because at that point, a lot of people left when the new games came out, or we got a whole new audience that just knows nothing about the originals. But for some reason, the ones that do, like, they remember Raccoon City, because it seems like there was so, like, Outbreak was a taste of how many other stories they could tell. You know what I mean? And I think that's why people are like, Raccoon City, back with the believable biological weapons before they turn into, like, giant monsters and stuff. Even though they do mutate, you know, freaking G at the end of this just keeps turning into a bigger blob. Nemesis did, but it gets a little wacky, right? And they just want to ground it back into that zombie horror, you know, body horror.
It's a very good subgenre.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of subgenres within it. So, you know, it's not that I wouldn't want to see accurate adaptations of the games. It's just, to me, it's still bizarre that, you know, 25 years and you can't move past Raccoon City when the games have moved past it.
Yeah.
Almost as long as the movies have been around.
I'm kind of that camp though too, where like if I want to see it, if they're gonna do it, I would want to see Raccoon City. So like,
I mean, they did try, because prior to Welcome to Raccoon City, James Wan was producing with Greg Russo writing an adaptation of Resident Evil 7.
Wow, I forgot about that.
Yep, and unfortunately, they wrote it right after the release of 7, and 7 was very much like the original Resident Evil. It was a very slow sale. Resident Evil 1 was not a hit right away.
Yeah.
It took about 6 months for Capcom to truly realize, like, holy shit, this thing sold like hotcakes.
Yeah.
They did do it. They did start work on the sequel, what was 1.5, but originally it was called Resident Evil 2. They started like a month or two after the game came out, because they were really quick to be like, okay, this thing is probably going to sell pretty decent. And then they were overwhelmed by just how well it sold.
Yeah.
But 7 was kind of the same way. It was a very slow start, and Constantine Film got cold feet. And then they had actually, it was a rumor at the time, but I think James Wan or even Greg Russo actually confirmed that at one point they're like, can you put time travel in it?
Whoa.
Yeah. There's like, and once those kind of conversations started,
I'm done.
Greg and James, they just bolted. They're like, yeah, we don't want to do that.
No,
they left. So
we're good.
I really want to read Greg Russo's script for Resident Evil 7 to see like what he did.
Yeah.
Just to see how he adapted it, how he did the characters, the molded, Ethan Winters, stuff like that. I think
That'd
it would have, if the script was really good, I would like to see that made, because at least we could start trying to get beyond. And I think that's the kind of movie where it's different enough that you can possibly bring in a lot of new audience.
Yeah.
You know, that might be kind of turned off, because I still think part of the problem with Welcome to Raccoon City was the amount of different canons that now exist, because and really it was also with the Netflix series too. There's this issue where you have the original game canon, you have the new game canon, you have the Anderson films, you have the Welcome to Raccoon City canon, and the Netflix TV show canon. And I know some of those are dead now, but at the same time, it's like, that's a lot for the average person to keep track of. I think the smarter thing would have been for, like, what Constantine should have probably done is, instead of Welcome to Raccoon City, they should have done the general concept, but it should have been a prequel or a midquel between the first and second Resident Evil film.
That would have been cool.
Could have done the Spencer Mansion and then led it into the Outbreak.
Yeah.
Where it's still connected to the Anderson films, but they can fill in background story. And then the same thing with the Netflix series.
I gotta pee. I'll be right back. Sorry.
I think the Netflix series should have been connected to the Anderson films and just been the backstory for Albert Wesker and what he was doing during Resident Evil 1 and Apocalypse, and then how he ended up taking over Umbrella. I think that would have been much better. And, you know, him having this fight with Marcus's daughter, They could have done some really interesting dynamics there of him slowly trying to take control of the company. So unfortunately, they didn't go that route, but they could have at least kept a lot of the same audiences that liked the Alice films. And I personally think having the Welcome to Raccoon City tie-in and then the Netflix series, they could have possibly done some much-needed backstory to fill out the movie universe lore, and maybe try and just make it mean more, you know, show some other character stories connected to that. Let's see here. Do we have any others? Wait for JJ to get back here. Any more questions for me? You guys have been asking a lot of questions, and I love it. Again, thank you for all the love and support you've shown the documentary. It really meant a lot. It was a 5.5-year journey to get that thing from when I first had the concept to actually getting it released. So I really do appreciate all the kind words that the fans have said about it. It was made by fans for fans. Oh, there's one in the regular chat. Brandon, what's your favorite Tyrant type boss? I like the original Tyrant because it's so iconic, and I do love Mr. X. I have nothing against Nemesis. It's just that I like when a series will try and keep things fresh, and Nemesis is just a much more advanced version of Mr. X. But I love Mr. X because he was first. But it all goes back to, I really love the original Tyrant because it's such a really cool idea. And it's very iconic, and I just love the disproportionate shape to him because he has like one giant arm, and you know, the grinning teeth, is the pumping heart. That's one of them, like, really cool details. That's something I really want to see in live action someday. It would just be a neat thing. What are your thoughts on Dino Crisis? Oh yeah, we were just talking about that earlier. We had a whole discussion about Dino Crisis because I love Dino Crisis. I don't love it as much as Resident Evil, and I have revisited that game over the last couple of years. I cannot get into it anymore. I still try. I love the concept, but they changed so much because I did not want it to just be Resident Evil with dinosaurs, but it got to the point where they changed so much of it that it feels like they threw out the baby with the bathwater. The inventory screen is fucking complicated. The storage mechanics fucking complicated with all like the different lock boxes. Yeah. And then you need like keys to like store your shit. And, yeah. The puzzles were boring to me and very repetitive. That game really needed some iconic puzzle pieces because it's like what are they called? The DDK. Yep. Keys and all that shit. Like they were not, you know, spinning around the generator coils like 3 fucking times in the game. It was like, holy shit. Could you imagine if you had to do like the some of like the puzzles in Resident Evil 2 like 3 fucking times? Yeah. It would get repetitive.
Well, the thing I think it suffers from, and going back and playing it, like, yeah, I played it when it came out with my cousins. I never got into it like I got into Resident Evil. You know, I still had, going back to it was a little nostalgic, but not near on the same level as Resident Evil. But I think what it suffers from now, going back in hindsight and seeing it, the environments are very much the complaint of Resident Evil 1.5, where it's just bland, you know, like it's just really clean and there's nothing really unique. And I think that they improved that vastly. I think like the style of 2 is amazing, but the gameplay is like a bonus mode. Like it's fun, it's super fun. But it's like they never got that fine balance of like the gameplay of 2 and 1, but with the pre-rendered backgrounds of 2. You know what I mean?
One does not have the environmental storytelling that 2 has. Yeah. And you look at Resident Evil 2, that's one of the things I really loved, and they expanded it even in Resident Evil 3. It's lacking in Resident Evil 1. They don't have any environmental storytelling. Yeah. But you have a few moments of it, like the hallway leading to Forest Fair to get the blood. Oh, yep. And then of course, you know, the
Sherry,
the blood in the dining
I'm
room.
glad to see your
There's like these little
bits, like when they're starting.
There's blood going up to the attic with Jan.
Oh, yep.
So
it shows you what's coming.
That's really all they did was just blood.
Yeah.
You know, like blood handprints and shit. But like that kind of stuff was neat. And you see it in Resident Evil 2 with like some of the dead bodies. They're like telling a story just with the environment.
The decapitated head, his head has been decapitated, then you see the liquor, right? Like that, there's a lot more. You're right, they did progressively get more into telling stories with the environments as the games progress.
They do that a lot in Resident Evil 3. And
yeah.
Like they really tell some tragic stories about things that happen to all these different characters.
Yeah.
And that's what the game really needed, because all you did was just... You would find dead bodies in dino crates, but it wouldn't really tell a story. It would just be, oh, a dead body.
Yeah.
You know, and it just lacked detail. Like, look at the fucking detail in this room.
Yeah.
Like, it feels so lived in. It feels like a real place. And dino crates didn't have that. It just... They just weren't there. They should have went pre-rendered.
Yeah, I think so too, and it really showed a lot in 2. I didn't realize that before, but Susie pointed out that the painting behind Iron's desk is a painting of her. How the fuck? That is crazy. It does look kind of like you. Did you read Mecha Nemesis?
What was it?
Did you read this one?
No, I've been waiting on you.
Oh, okay. Mecha Nemesis with a $2 super chat. Thank you for your support. The design for the Romero Tyrant is incredible. I agree. That thing's sick. I'll let you talk about it, but I like that design.
That one there, if you're talking about the maquette, that was done by John Wrightson, who is Bernie Wrightson's son. Bernie Wrightson did the Creepshow comic. He's known for doing Swamp Thing. He's done a lot of work over the years. And unfortunately, Bernie had passed away, so I wasn't able to interview him. But his son agreed to do an interview because, you know, he loves his father. And he had made the maquette to honor his father. Bernie did at least 13 different illustrations, which I own. I don't have the originals, but people that do have the originals gave me copies. And it was really cool.
Not bad, girl.
Oh, here comes my favorite line in the game.
Anyone leave my town, everyone's gonna die.
I fucking
you had it in the
love
trailer.
that. That's so ingrained in me, and I'll tell a story about that. Some people have already heard it, but let me finish up here with the comment. So John Wrightson took a couple different ideas from the designs for the Tyrant, and he picked the one that he liked the most. But yeah, it comes across as a really cool
what is it? Tell me.
way of just honoring his father, and I love that fucking Tyrant. I think that would have been really cool to see, even though it's slightly different than the Tyrant in the game. I think it would have made it very iconic as a movie monster, that, you know, having that more skull-like face and like more imposing body structure. It would have been neat. It would have been really neat to see.
He didn't have a stubby arm either. He actually had like a, because if you look at the original Tyrant, yeah, it's cool to see that big arm, but if you look at its proportions, that arm is like stubby. It's like really big, but the same length, kind of.
And they fixed it in the remake where they, because the artwork is like that, but it's not like that in the game itself.
Yes.
It's actually
like normally bigger.
And one thing I actually liked about the remake was they make it that the claws are actually his like original fingers.
Oh,
they're actually more like bones.
Yeah.
And they actually have the segments that it's actually the bones, but it's
that's
kind of
cool.
Grown into like large claws.
Yeah.
But no, I think it would have been interesting to see Wrightson's Tyrant in a George Romero film like that, and much like how Pyramid Head in the Christoph Gans Silent Hill film, I think it could have been fully embraced by the horror community, and even now we could have so many more people in the horror community just loving that design. So
yeah,
it's kind of a shame. Like, you miss out on these things that, you know, you could have had the wider horror fans and really embrace a Romero film like that would have been just this very iconic creature feature with so many different unique monsters that, you know, to this day we've still never seen a live action hunter, you know, in one of the Resident Evil films. So that would have been really neat with some of the sequences that he had planned.
Oh, thought I killed him. Bitch. Then we got Mecha Nemesis with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mecha Nemesis. This one is for both of you guys. What is your favorite tyrant? I like Nemesis. That is like the pinnacle of tyrants for me. Something that's smart, intelligent, pursues you. The choices when you meet him, like fight or run, it's like the first time it's like run, you know. And I just absolutely that was like the definition of terror and tension for me. And I think Resident Evil and tension go hand in hand. So yeah, it's like they took the idea of X, which I absolutely love, but then they amplified it times 1,000. You know.
I
answered,
talked
yeah.
about it, but yeah, I like the Resident Evil 1 tyrant, which again, you know, I love the Bernie Wright, the John Wrights and Maquette, which I have at my house. So that's
cool.
That's like
that's cool.
Everyone I think has like their own like collector item. That's
yeah.
Like, this is mine. There are not many like it, but this one is mine.
Yeah.
And it's that is my like cherished item that I have in my house right now. That and some of the Romero scripts I have. I have quite a few like different really cool like little things that's like I just get gifted to me. I don't have it tonight because we were supposed to film and I didn't want to wear it while we were filming, but a good friend of mine who's a huge Romero fan, because I was doing this doc, he actually gifted me with a scarf that is a replica of George Romero's iconic scarf. It's very, very close. He actually tracked down and like he had to like special order this material.
That's crazy.
Because, you know, that scarf is from like at least the 70s.
Yeah.
So he was tracking down the pattern and like studying it, but he made me this scarf that was a replica of George's lucky scarf. So that was a really cool gift to have. So I tend to wear it everywhere, but I left it back at the hotel tonight because I thought we were going to be filming.
We tried.
Yeah, we did try. Too many technical issues to try and do on top of other stuff, but no, it was a really cool gift. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have that and then the tyrant stuff.
We got AM. Welcome to Rose Squad Recruit. Thank you so much for becoming a member. Let's all welcome AM to the Rose Squad. We got Jimbo Ori with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much, Jimbo. Keep up the good work, JJ. Thanks, man. It's my pleasure. Appreciate that. The Red Queen with a $5 super chat. Their 10th ever super chat. Thank you, Red Queen. What does Brandon think about the Resident Evil 2 character Hunk? Should he be in his own game or live adaptation film? It's a lot of the questions there are things that we were actually having conversations about this weekend, which is really cool.
I feel like we pre-gamed this.
Yeah.
You know, Hunk was originally supposed to have his own game. The original idea for Resident Evil 3 was to follow on from the Forced Survivor and would have actually had Hunk on a cargo ship trying to deliver the G virus when there's an outbreak. They scrapped it for one reason or the other and then kept moving on until eventually, you know, we ended up with Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. But I don't know what I would think of a game starring Hunk. You know, Hunk to me is sort of like Boba Fett in Star Wars, like the original trilogy. He's this guy that shows up that is super fucking cool.
But he sucks at his job, and he's the reason why the outbreak happened in Raccoon City, dude. Like, nobody talks about that.
He completed his job. That's all that mattered.
He got the infection to the city, but that was a mistake. They would have did their job right.
That's a man who covers his
yeah, covers his ass. Only cares about himself.
No one knows he killed William Birkin because everyone in that city is dead.
Yeah, exactly. That's true.
No, I don't know how it would work because I feel like to make the game, you know, if they kept him exactly the same, where it's just him not really talking, it would kind of get a little bit boring. But on the flip side, if they started giving him more emotion or show his face, I think it would like really ruin his mystique.
Yeah,
like who he is. You only get that one image from Resident
Evil 3's epilogue. Yeah,
but I don't know. I'd like to see him more.
Yeah,
I really do want to see him more, and I'd love to know if he's like still around in today. Like it'd be kind of neat if he was like being this like mercenary kind of guy. If he joined like Blue Umbrella,
and had to work with Chris, that would be fucking crazy.
That would be neat.
Holy
shit! See him like come back and still be within this world of survival horror, because that's all he knows, is that's the kind of life that he lives.
I never thought of that. Him, because as a mercenary and Umbrella being out, he would have just take contracts. And if he took a contract with Blue Umbrella, which is affiliated with Chris's, BSAA, you could see all their logos and stuff in 7. If they actually have to work together, holy shit, dude, that's mind-blowing.
Like that could be a good scenario for a live-action movie.
Would work, yeah.
Like, when I was talking about the idea of trying to connect it into the games, I would love to see something like that where you get some interesting dynamics. Because Chris would obviously be super pissed off if he found out that, like, what Hunk had done in the past. You know, that he more or less caused the entire outbreak of Raccoon City.
They have a fight. They have a fight sequence.
You know, that would be neat.
That would,
but have them in a new scenario against something new and interesting.
Fuck, I should have ran right away.
Yeah, I would love to see that. As long as it's not the 4.
Oh, dude.
The swarm of 4 is instant death.
Yeah, so I was talking when you just run straight, and I started talking, and by then it was too late. I got swarmed.
That was my problem last night playing.
Yeah,
like,
it gets distracting.
I get caught up talking, and then it's like I'm not paying attention to the game.
It happens. It happens a lot. Yeah, that was a good question. Good question. Then we got Jay Ritzy with an incredibly generous $50 super chat. Jay, thank you so much for that incredibly generous support. You get the first big donation of the award tonight, and everybody, please give it up to Jay Ritzy in the chat. Hell yeah, big X, baby. That's what I'm talking about. All right, Jay Ritzy says, "Sup, JJ, and hello, Brandon. Watching the stream from Japan currently. Heading to the Capcom store in a bit. Flying back stateside tomorrow after winter vacation." That is amazing. That's one of the things my top thing I would want to do for travel is go to Japan and then hit up that store. Enjoy it, man, and thank you so much for your very generous support. I hope you find a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, I hope you find a lot of really cool stuff. Holy cow. People.
Yeah, there was a lot of support. This was like, whoa, it keeps coming, man. Thank you guys for all that. Jimbo Ori with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jimbo, once again. They should do a Resident Evil 2 mod with Ori as Leon or Claire. What do you think of that?
Yeah, let's do it. We have mods for everything.
Yeah, right? At this point, why not? I love that modders take the engine and just make all their, ideas into it, because you get the coolest things. You get funny things like Kendo's Cut. You get awesome things like Contagion. You know, you get the coolest scenarios that you'll never get that from Capcom. They're never going to go back, but these games still have good mechanics where it's still fun to play them, you know what I mean?
The ones that I really want to play, and I need to, just get this stuff all together again.
Yeah.
Maybe you can help that with me.
I can help you.
I really want to do, the Rebecca scenario and the Barry Burton scenario.
Oh, yep, okay. Yeah, I can set you up with those. Mods now are so easy to set up in comparison to how they used to be when I first started the channel. They used to be a chore because not many people were doing it. Now it's so much more streamlined.
Are those mods of the PS1 game or PC?
I believe it's PC. And I'm not 100% though. Some of them are also made for PlayStation.
Yeah, because I know how to do, because I have Resident Evil 1.5. I need to update the files, but I figured out how to do the PlayStation 1 emulator and what files to get.
Yep.
All that crazy stuff. Like right there. That's another good environmental storytelling. What happened there with that giant crack in the concrete?
It's just old.
It's just like a random detail. Yeah. Most of the walls have been just normal walls.
Yeah, and then that one,
for some reason, there's that giant crack right there. A chunk of concrete missing.
I do like that. And I like that a lot in with the window being broken, and then 3 you see the Nemesis jump through it. That's really cool. They tie both of those together.
Really random stuff.
What's out here? I don't remember. Sherry's just out here. Crickets, get out of here. Nope. Nah, we don't need anything out here. We're out of here. I just wanted the grenade rounds. Eddie with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Eddie. The detective idea is a brilliant angle. Something like Season 1 True Detective that leads them to Chief Irons would be awesome. That would be cool, and it leads up to them, and they're like, we got him, and then all of a sudden the outbreak hits, and they're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, that would be neat.
Yeah.
There's plenty of, different story ideas you could do, as TV series and movies that you could stay within the canon of the games.
Yeah.
Because of all these backstories that are in the files that... you don't have to create wholly original ideas you can follow the canon and still find stories to tell. And that was one of the ways that if you never played the Outbreak games before and then you play it, it's like really opens your mind about the storytelling possibilities, where if you didn't want to replicate the games because you don't want to, you know, because either the budget would be too high, or you're not going to be able to adapt it correctly, or, you know, you run the risk of alienating fans because you couldn't get an actress that looks like Claire, or, you know, for whatever reasons. There's so many different stories that you can still tell that tie into the games.
Yeah.
Hell, you could, even if you only did like Resident Evil 7, there's like backstories in there with like a lot of the victims and a lot of the story that was going on for several years just with the Bakers.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things that they were doing. So there's stories there to tell even in the newer games.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there'd be plenty of potential. You know, a lot of people love the original stories, and there's plenty of background stories that you can tell there. I think the problem would be just trying to connect them all together, whether you were doing a series, or if you're going to do like a trilogy of movies, finding the right stories that could all connect together so it doesn't feel so random.
Yeah. I know also too, with like lower budgets, you don't always have to show the creatures. You can allude to them. Like there's ways you can build the suspense and tension without actually showing the full creature. Light is your friend. Light is your best friend if you have a low budget, right? But do it tastefully, where you get little glimpses enough to like set the tone of what it is, and you know, put that thought in people's mind, and then let their minds take over the rest of it. I think that always can be done if done properly. We got Christian Ferris with 35 months recruit. Thank you so much for almost 3 years of support, man. Greatly appreciate that. Thoughts on the RE animated movies?
I like them. They're a little bit too action heavy. You know, they kind of kept up with that style of the middle trilogy of 4, 5, and 6. I would really, really like to see them tackle an animated movie that sticks to the survival horror elements that the series was known for and is now getting back to. I'd also like to see them start branching out and doing stuff. Like for me, I think the perfect way of doing it would be to make an animated movie that fills in some of the backstory of like the newest game. So if Resident Evil 9 is going to be this big open world type area with Leon and Jill, if they have different background stories there, I would like to see some sort of multimedia project that is all centered around that game. And the perfect example would be the mid-90s when they did Star Wars Shadows of the Empire, where they actually all told the same story, but from different points of view, and each one had different scenes. Like they had a video game, they had a comic series, they had a novel, they had action figures, and I'd like to see that as a multimedia project for Resident Evil. I feel that would be kind of neat, where every time they make a new Resident Evil game, which if they're going to do it, say a new one every 4 years or so, that's perfect that you're getting, say, a novel that ties in specific backstory to the movie or to the game, and then you're getting an animated movie that's a different backstory or side story that's going on with the games. And because they're animated, you can keep the same graphics as what the video game is.
I like that idea. I also like the thought, if you are going to retell the cutscenes from like 1 and you're going to make that into a movie, like you could do that CG, right? Like you could, like it's already done, it's great, it's in the games, but if you want to like tell a movie, CG. And then you can have the characters look like the characters, you can have the voices of the characters, makes a lot of people happy, and you can copy it very similar to the cutscenes, but you just improved CG. It's cool to see like different creatures, like in Degeneration or Damnation, it was Damnation, seeing Mr. X, like the movie got over the top as action heavy, it's my favorite of the animated movies, but to see X, like X stomping on liquors, like that was so cool to see him in that, because the graphics style is just so much more advanced, right? A lot more money into it. I love this cutscene, by the way. This is so cool.
One of the coolest cutscenes in the original games. I also really love the original design for Hunk and the other soldiers. We talked about this. Like the remakes made them look like very stealth, very Black Ops, but
very realistic. Where he had a style in this one.
It also makes him feel like every other like special forces. commando type soldier, whereas this made him look very unique with the choice of
you might want to go a little closer. Sorry.
With the choice of like uniform that he's wearing and the type of body armor and even the helmets. Like he looks very different from any other type of soldier. Compared to the remakes where they tried to make him so grounded that he just looks like anything else in media.
Yeah. I mean, it's a legit outfit that you can get. It's expensive, but I do like the style of the one in the original games is much more of that era, that 90s. Like, it might not be as practical, but goddamn, it's unique and it looks cool, you know?
I mean, it makes him look a lot more iconic.
Yeah, not everything needs to look exactly realistic. Like, a lot of the reasons why people cosplay a lot of these older characters is because their costumes are so unique. That's why people like them so much. They're different than everything else you see.
Everyone has main character potential.
Yeah.
It's just like anime. Like the wilder your costume looks, the more you're the main character.
yeah. And people start cosplaying. Sphere Hunter says the recent CGI Infinite Darkness Death Island went out of their way to really change the characters' faces, which is extremely weird when the game takes place months or even a few years besides them. They did like. Jill looks exactly the same, which I get they explained it because of her. I don't like that, and she's wearing the same clothes. But yeah, the CG in Death Island was very different than Vendetta. Like, if you rewatch those, it almost seems like the CG is better in Vendetta than Death Island. Oh, you're talking about Infinite Dark? Oh, both of them. Yeah. I don't know why they did that. The Eye, and that's Hunk failing his mission and the end of Raccoon City. You would have just did your fucking job right. This wouldn't have happened. That's all I gotta say. I'll stop now.
Carriers of the virus?
As a result of his virus-induced transmutation, William should have lost any prior memories he had as a human by now.
We got Therapong with a gifted membership, bringing us up to 8 members. Thank you so much for growing the row, Therapong. Please everybody give it up to Therapong.
And that's not
Gus with a $5. Thank you, Gus. Brandon, don't know if you've answered this. If so, I'm sorry. If given the opportunity, would you ever try to bring George's original RE script to life?
Yes. That's the short answer. Yes.
And we talked about that too.
Yeah, we talked about that in the streams last night. You and I talked about it today.
Yep.
Yeah, if I ever had the opportunity, it'd never be there. But I would love to bring that thing to life. I really love the script. I know it's not what everyone would want as a movie. It's absolutely not accurate to a lot of the lore, especially now. But for that time period, I really loved just the raw, visceral style that George brought to the games. And he really was trying to at least make it feel like Resident Evil, even if he was changing details.
Yeah.
And by feel, I mean it has the dark qualities of the video game. It's very claustrophobic. You know, he was bringing in stuff. Like, he even had some of like the puzzle type pieces within the script. You know, just like we were talking about, pointing out that they had like the tiger statue in it. It's funny, they had the key cards, and one thing I didn't get to talk about was there's the red and blue key cards, which we've seen in Resident Evil 2, and they had a red one in Resident Evil 1.
They have the red one in this one.
Yeah, they're in this, but
they
also had a green key card in the script.
Oh.
The green key card is actually from an earlier build of Resident Evil 2, and it's in Resident Evil 1.5.
Yeah, good call.
So they had a red, blue, and green key card, which is also the herbs color.
Yep.
But I always loved that little detail that he had a green key card, and it was technically in some of the earlier builds of the games.
Yeah.
So he was bringing out like a lot of these details from the games. It just wasn't fan service. You know, the closest thing he got to fan service was blowing up the Tyrant with the rocket launcher, and you know, he kills Wesker the exact same way. And then, of course, he had to turn his zombie head, you know, things like that. But it was neat that he was kind of mixing up the elements. And the one thing I could say is when I read fan scripts, because they're being 100% accurate to the games most of the time, it becomes kind of boring because you know what's going to happen next. And I will say that it was kind of neat to see an adaptation of the first game. And I had no idea what was happening from scene to scene. Like, I really did not know what was going to happen next. And that was exciting as a fan who could at least appreciate what George was doing, even if I didn't necessarily agree with every single every single kind of change that he did. I loved the fact that he was making these really fantastic, tense scenes.
Wake up, Sherry.
And I never knew like who was gonna die in each scene.
We did some script reading last night in the after party, and there were moments in it where I was like, this is really fucking good, dude. Like, this is cool. Like, you can kind of picture it. And there's moments where it's really intense, and I do like his. It's of its time. Like, you'll never see certain movies adapted today, but at that time, that would have been the only time you would have seen something like that, and it would have been cool to see his take on Resident Evil.
Mm-hmm.
I need this. That's your daddy. He's coming to get you. I already got you. You're infected. I gotta put you down, Cheryl. Sorry, but it's got to be this way. No survivors. Brassmaster with a $5 super chat. I actually missed one. I'm sorry. Mecha Nemesis with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. For both of you guys, what is your holy trinity of the franchise? The 3 goats of Resident Evil you would take with you to a deserted island? 1, 2, 3. That's me.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Same here. 1, 2, 3. I have nothing against the any of the other games in the series. I don't necessarily like the middle trilogy, though I appreciate the fact that they helped grow the fan base so huge. And same thing with 7 and 8. You know, I really liked 7 because it was like a breath of fresh air.
Got me back into the series. I was like kind of like, yeah, I'll check out the new stuff, but I'm more interested in the old stuff. And then 7 came, and I was like, you got my attention. The hype was crazy around that game.
And we talked about that too, where it was like Resident Evil 6. It's a fun game. Resident Evil 5 is a fun game. But for me, like, I don't hate the games, but at that time when they were coming out, I wasn't enjoying them as a fan, and I realized that the series had evolved beyond what I wanted out of the series. So I was like, well, I guess I'm kind of done with this series now. And then 7 came out, and I played the demo and was like, holy shit, is this good? Because I have no idea what's going on.
It's new again,
It was the first time that I had that feeling in so long, where I'm like, I have no idea how this connects to Resident Evil, and I fucking love it.
Yeah.
But I knew that there was going to be something, and I you know, playing the game and you're getting these little nods to the old games.
Yeah.
It's just really cool.
And then they showed you Chris, and you're like, hey, that's not Chris.
I was okay.
I know.
I actually
just kidding.
was okay with how he looked, because I just chalked it up to, you know, a change in the graphics.
Yeah.
And it was like, that's fine with me. If that's, you know, Chris is, I think, the character that's changed the most looks.
Oh my God, yeah.
The series. I was like, fuck it, it's Chris.
Yeah, sure, why not?
You know, I don't care.
Luke Bryan, dude. You probably don't know who Luke Bryan is.
No.
Country singer, but
okay.
Yeah.
I think there was like fan theories that they said like it was Hunk.
Thought it was his brother.
Yeah.
I made a theory on that too. I got in on that because I was speculating. I was like, what is it? What's going on with this guy?
That would have worked for me.
Yeah.
But then it would be like, well, why hasn't he been mentioned? You know.
Well, yes.
There was the clone theory.
It was the theory because it wasn't just his character looking different. It was him flying away in a blue umbrella helicopter. Where you're like, what the fuck?
The was it Revelations that had like the weird trailer that never went anywhere because they changed shit where it was like.
Oh, where they misled people?
There was 2 Chris's.
Yeah, it was a fake Chris, but it was like, I don't remember, but I remember people saying it was misleading.
Well, I think there was something that was supposed to happen in the story, and then Capcom like got cold feet. I still think to this day that Resident Evil 7 was meant to be a sequel to Revelations.
They said that too.
And that Jack Baker was supposed to be Barry Burton.
Yep. Yeah, and I heard that same thing. So I'm not crazy. Because for the longest time I've had that theory.
And I'll be honest,
I couldn't remember where I got it from.
I really wish they had done that. I know people would have been pissed.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Barry Burton would have been dead.
But then that would have made sense because Natalia would have been Evelyn. And then Zoe would have been Moira. Barry, and you know, it would have been his family because he took her on, but she had Alex Wesker in her, right? And that would have been her turning on the, like her coming out. That would have been crazy.
And it would have been neat if, I don't know, to some extent, it would have been neat if, God, I can't even think of her name right now.
Mia?
Yeah, Mia.
Yeah.
If that was Claire.
Oh.
And then, but then, like, you know, she's like dating a guy named Ethan.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like I always said that, and I always thought like that was the original idea, but I couldn't find out where I got that from. So I was like, did I just make that up? Because
I mean, maybe, but as soon as I played it, you know, and knowing like Revelations 2, it was like, man, this just feels like they wanted to do a sequel to Revelations 2, but then got cold feet.
Yeah.
Because they were like, oh, the fans are not gonna like Barry Burton dying, but I think it would have been kind of cool because
I think so too.
One of the rumors I really fucking loved during Resident Evil 6 was the idea that what's his name,
Ustanak, yep,
was gonna be Leon.
Oh, that
because they had like a style. It's like I was, you know, and I'm looking again. It's going back to that marketing when the tagline is "No hope left." I'm like, oh man, I hope they start.
What did they do?
I hope they start killing characters.
Yeah, I don't mind characters dying as long as there's a lot of weight behind it, and it does add weight, right? As long as it's done like to like progress the story, not just to kill them, you know.
Yeah, it's just one of the things that I become disappointed over the years was the idea that it's turned into the same reoccurring character.
Yeah,
and it starts becoming stale.
I do want to see where these characters go, but at the same time, you feel like, dude, they're invincible. Like Death Island, while it was fun, it's like there's no stakes. Like they're all gonna be fine. It was cool to see them team up and kick ass, but it's like the weight is gone.
Yeah, it starts losing its purpose.
Yeah,
and I really like to see more characters, new situations. And, you know, part of, like, Ethan's, like, the criticisms with Ethan...
Yeah.
If he was made for, like, one of these games, like a Resident Evil 2...
Yeah.
Like, he would have such a different design. He'd probably be in, like, a muscle shirt with, like, an H harness on and, like, fingerless gloves. And he'd be, like, picking it up as he goes until he looks like some badass.
After Village, I always thought of him as, like, an Art Thompson. From Survivor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He has like a certain look about him that unfortunately he would have had a much more unique character design if he was in like he would be like Billy Cohen. Like that's like
oh okay, yeah.
Like he would be like one of those kind of characters.
Yeah.
Where you're like, man, this guy's fucking cool.
They did it. I feel like
you know, he like, shows up and he's just wearing his button down shirt.
Who's this fucking cuck nerd? Because Mia's clearly calling Jack Daddy for a reason, but you know he goes there and she's like, "Get out of here! Why are you trying to save me? Daddy's coming." Ethan's like, "No, you're my wife." You know, joking, but they did improve his character a lot, I think, in Village, and obviously he was like a clean slate, blank character because that's their intentions was you were the character, but then they kind of went back to, you know,
it wasn't a bad idea the way they wanted to go about it. The only problem was you had 6 games prior to that.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, that are different. So it unfortunately was a good idea, bad judgment kind of.
Yeah,
good initiative, bad judgment.
I get where they were going, but I understand. We have what was that? Bowie Sensei with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Bowie. Just sending some love. Oh, thank you. We appreciate that. Brassmaster, I don't know if I read that $2 super chat. Don't make me. I don't remember. I don't know what we're making you do, but thank you. And then Brassmaster gifted a membership. Thank you for growing the row. Actually, we just hit 10 members. Thank you guys for the row squad hype train. I see there's a few because Brassmaster again. Remember, I'm always here, says Brassmaster. Thank you, Brassmaster, for that $2. And then Brassmaster again with another $2. Dude, you're on fire tonight. Thank you. The cash I donated, I should have got merch. You donated a lot to the channel. Thank you. We are just getting our merch page back up. And then Mecha Nemesis with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Mecha Nemesis. Okay, gentlemen, your top 5 favorite Resident Evil characters. Here's mine. 1, Claire, Jill, Hunk, Barry, Leon. And thanks for your work. You rock. Thank you, man. Appreciate that a ton. I'll let you go first on your favorite 5.
Oh. Let's see here. In no order. I absolutely love Chris Redfield, especially because in the late 90s, early 2000s, you know, there was so much media around him with like the comic books and stuff like that they really did make him into the protagonist for the series.
Yeah.
And now it feels like they're trying to shift more towards Leon, but Chris will always be the main protagonist of the series. But Chris, I love Barry, Jill. You know, it's like a toss-up between Jill and Claire, because Claire was my first.
That's my first. Yeah,
love,
I gotta go that.
Never
route,
forget
but...
your first.
Yeah.
But in fact, she was I think the first one I played as was Claire.
Same, when we played, it was Claire.
So, it's so. Let's go with Chris, Barry, Claire, Hunk.
That's more than 5.
Chris, Barry, Claire, Hunk.
Oh, Chris, Barry, Claire, Hunk. Yeah, okay. I'm sorry.
How many fingers do you have?
I'm stupid. I don't know how I told you this.
And then let's go with I don't know, Carlos.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting lineup. Mine's going to be way more boring, but Leon, Claire, Jill, Chris. And it's a toss-up. It's tough to say my 5th because I love Wesker as a villain. I think he is by far the best villain in the series. I'm going to have to go with Wesker as, 5.
See, I like those characters too, like Leon and Wesker, but I don't like how they've developed.
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fair.
It's one of those where it's like, okay, Leon's a little bit oversaturated for me. He's kind of been like the same fucking character for 20 years.
Yeah, I like him, but I get what you're saying.
And again, like I was talking about last night during the streams, I like Kenichi's Wesker from Raccoon 1.
Yeah,
he feels much more humanistic in his goals. Like, I'm gonna make money, sell his stuff, and he was still kind of like that in Code Veronica. It was just like, we're gonna make money. You know, who cares?
You wanna make money? Let's make money.
He's like, who cares if I'm no longer human? I got these powers.
Yeah,
but. Like everything, he was still like, I'm cool,
Yeah.
And then by Resident Evil 5, he was like, I'm a Bond villain.
I was always thinking of like Matrix
in the world.
Yeah.
And it was like, man, did he ever like completely just 180 himself?
Complete global saturation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he just started becoming a joke. So like, I'm hoping if they ever do bring him back, that they kind of tone that shit down.
Go back, like kind of what they. Well, no, they didn't do that with 4 Remake because 1 billion, like he still is like that over the top Wesker. I like it, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like I don't know. I like to see characters that have more human like motivation.
Yeah, not just typical villain. I get that. That's fair. Thank you again, Brassmaster, for another gifted. Appreciate that so much, man. You brought us to 11 members. Thank you. And then best side characters. I had to read that because I got to go with my boy Forspire, my boy Kendo. I'm sure there's more, but that's the only 2 I'm going to name right now.
Best side characters?
Yeah. Of course, you don't even play as. You don't even see him alive, but fucking mullet, dude. He's badass. He got ripped off sleeves. He's a sniper, and he's got a sick mullet. That's why I have to go with him.
I don't know. I like some of the side characters in 3. Like, that was one of the first times I had like a really large cast of characters.
They really did, yeah.
Like all these just random UBCS characters.
That's true. And you did make me remember, I really like Chev and I like Piers. But yeah, you're right. Carlos is awesome. He only got 1 game, which is crazy.
I do like Billy.
I like Billy too, yeah. Yeah.
Outbreak has a fuck ton of characters.
Oh, so many. I mean, this is now we've opened Pandora's box here, because I like Evan.
Like top 5 characters from Outbreak.
Yeah, like we gotta narrow this down. Yeah.
What we got here?
I like Jake. I really did like Jake.
Can't wait to watch George Romero's Resident Evil. I just have to wait until I get my money on Tuesday. Well, I hope you enjoy it. Again, like I've been saying, it's made by fans for fans. So please, I really hope you sincerely enjoy it.
You gonna die or what? This gun sucks. I want Leon's Magnum back. He's smoking, dude. Later, Gator.
And thank you, Joseph. I'm glad that you love it.
I think I got the wrong grenade launcher out. That's right, toppled him. He's got the freaking jorts and all. Leveled him.
He's like, oh shit, I thought they set the stun.
Just wrecked him. Yeah, the acid rounds didn't really work as good as I was hoping on him, but it wasn't bad. And then we were almost all cut. We still got more support. We got Brassmaster with another 2 gifted. Thank you again for continuing to grow the Row Squad. And then Mecha Nemesis with the $2 super chat. We finally caught up on our support, which is crazy. Thank you guys so much. Hunk is the Boba Fett of Resident Evil. Changed my mind. Completely agree. I've said this.
I was talking about that.
I told you Boba Fett. Before you even said that, I said the same thing. Like, we're on the same page with that. You can't. The more you give him, the more you have the potential to ruin the mystique, what you have developed in your head. You don't want to, like Ada and Hunk. Well, I get, they could have great side games. They could, but at the same time, like, you have a chance to ruin their character. You have a chance. Everybody's had all this time to envision their ideal version of them in their head. You don't want to give away too much.
Oh.
Yeah, like the only thing I would say about Hunk is I wish he, you know, we discussed this like an hour ago.
Yeah,
I wish he was in the newer games because I would really like to see that he's still around in the world.
Yeah.
You know, he should be someone that like comes back every so often with like a mini game.
Yeah.
You know, he's just in the background of the story, or you get to see a cool scene about him. But
the best when they're in the background, doing the shit behind the scenes. Yeah,
like a whole cutscene of him, and then he's gone.
Yeah.
You know, I would like to see that. Like keep him where he's just cameoing, basically.
Yeah, cameoing. Hey, this is Hunk. I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. Cameo. But your idea of him potentially being a mercenary at this point and then working with Blue Umbrella and then having to work with Chris is one of the craziest things that I've heard as like a potential theory in a long time, where I was like, holy fuck, there's a lot of potential there. Like, that would be the only way I want to see it, is if he somehow working with these new corporations ended up having to work with, like, say, Chris. And it's like, whoa.
I mean, Nikolai's still around.
Nikolai, yeah.
I would love to see. I don't think his stories have ever been resolved. Kind of neat to see him come back.
I guess what's the canon ending of 3?
Well, he's mentioned in Code Veronica.
Oh, yeah. But now are they going to go off of their new remake canon? Because, I mean, there was a helicopter right behind him.
Yeah, that's what I always took, is that they kind of set him up to make it feel like he dies, but he actually ends up, like as soon as they leave,
just gets in a different chopper.
Comes at a chopper. Like, oh, yeah, that's right here.
Yeah, I didn't need that one. All right, let's load this bad boy up. Got a lot of flame rounds. This is a fun, like, I was going fast at first, but now I'm just kind of enjoying it, enjoying the conversation. There's a lot of really good questions and playing, so, like, it's been a fun casual run.
So, Gary Richardson asks, is the doc getting a physical release? Yes. February 2nd, I'm going to be filming all the special features, getting the audio commentaries done. Then we just need to get it edited and then delivered to the distributor. I don't know when the Blu-ray is coming out, but it is going to come out in the U.S. It's going to be region free. It's not going to be region locked. Because I know that was a big deal with South America, because we didn't get a distributor for anywhere in South America. So people will be able to actually buy it and play it. You know, you have to buy it from the United States, but you do have the option to watch it. But yeah, it's coming. It's just,
I'll get it.
I just gotta get the special features done. I was sick for 2 months. I had a really bad lung infection, so I wasn't able to work on anything. So now that I'm better, I can go get all these special features done, because the distributors were very anxious to receive them.
Well, this cool animation's going. I always thought that was really cool. I'm gonna grab my drink. I'll be right back.
Let's see here. Nicholas, I want to your George Romero Resident Evil documents. Ro, that's so valuable. All right. Let's see.
I do want to say, guys, thank you so much for 500 likes. Really appreciate it. Glad you guys are enjoying this. We are now less than 250 away from our goal. And if we do hit 750, we'll gift out 5 members.
Let's see. CJ, congrats on the doc, Brandon. Excited to watch it once it comes out in the UK. Yep, it's hopefully going to come out next month in the UK. I know Dolphin Media, they're the distributor for Europe. So it's all in their hands because I did a bulk sale to them. It's their responsibility. I'm not getting, any sort of control or input for how it's released in Europe. So it's Dolphin Media. So I just keep pushing, people in that direction.
Yeah.
Go.
Talk to them.
If you're getting kind of irritated about, lack of marketing over there, or you don't know if it's going to release, go harass them.
Yeah,
And, ask them.
George Romero's Resident Evil.
That might actually make them push even harder because I know they have a Blu-ray release coming out that has like English, and it's primarily a German release, but it does have English on there. I think there's a few people I talked to that live in the UK and even Spain that were saying like, we're just gonna buy this version because it's the only thing that is listed for right now. So they're like, screw it.
Yeah.
We'll just buy this. So hopefully they're gonna get it onto some of the streaming platforms over there and do something more than just a German Blu-ray.
Yeah. I like a collector's box of it. That'd be cool with artwork and stuff.
It'd be kind of neat, It would be neat to do a lot of things with it. I know there's people asking about that were like comic book artists were willing to try and at least do like the first so many pages of the script, and I'm like, I don't have the rights to any of that. It's a neat idea, but legally, like, we can't do it.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that.
That would have been really neat to do.
Oh shit! Damn, one hitter quitter. You suck. Stupid purple. No, they're like a dark blue hunters. They're more evolved and they only have one talon instead of a whole bunch of claws.
Oh yeah.
They're cool. I like that they evolve in this.
Yeah, it's kind of neat because they do like consider them a separate enemy, even if it's like a reskin of just the liquor.
Yeah, they do got a little bit of different texture and they're more aggressive.
I did like in the remake they changed around the IVs.
Yeah,
they're like Plant 43 now.
Yeah, I like the look of them.
Neat. And then they changed up the naked zombies.
Naked zombies.
What are they called? Paleheads.
Oh, that was in 3. That was in it was in 3. Yeah.
Okay, but it was still neat that they were coming up with like these new
different types. Yeah, except I missed my naked zombies.
Pale heads.
Yeah,
I was like, okay, these are pretty good play on words.
The only thing that kind of upsets me is I looked at the concept art for Resident Evil 2 Remake, and at one point they did have the evolution into a Crimson Head, where it would be a zombie turning into a Crimson Head. So they had Crimson Heads, and then as the Crimson Head progressed, its head would split open, the brain would come out, and it would evolve into a liquor, which is what Crimson Heads evolve into liquors. And
that would have been really cool.
So cool, yeah. Always wanted to see that.
Like, it's so neat to see like just all the stuff that never gets put into these.
It is. There's a lot of really cool ideas, and a lot of elements from 1.5 did make their way into the remake. A lot of the design.
The labs are pretty much the same labs.
There's
some changes, but it's kind of neat to know that like the one hallway in this area actually would split off into the shelters.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
The whole area is there.
That was cool.
But yeah, this is all pretty much the same like rooms.
Yeah.
Like right here, like
that was 1.5.
A man spider would come out.
Yep. Remember the trailer? That was in the trailer, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. We got Mecha Nemesis with a $2 super chat. Thank you again, Mecha Nemesis. For you both, favorite G form of William? I love G2. I like the forearms. The forearms is my favorite.
I like G2, and I do like what is it, G4? G3 is the forearm.
Yep, and then G4 is the dog.
So
I hate that fucking dog. That boss. That's a boss that screwed me in my speedrun.
I mean, I hate fighting it.
Yeah, but it's cool. Yeah. Catch my arrows. Catch. Good catch. Oh shit. Mask one. Then we got oh wait, there. Oh yeah. Jimbo with another $5. Thank you again, Jimbo. Oh, here comes this guy. Oh, wrong guy, idiot. Claire. 1 second, Jimbo. Jimbo says, I would go anything to chat with the actors of the Resident Evil games. I'm very grateful that I have the opportunity to do that. A lot of them, getting to meet so many people, getting to hear their stories. Like it is awesome to have this platform and be able to talk with the actors. And a lot of them are really cool. You know, like just cool to hang out with. You know, it's awesome. Joker's Disciple with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Joker's Disciple. Best way to do a live action hunk is 1, he comes in, 2, he wrecks shit, 3, he leaves. Also, limited to no speaking lines, no origin, keep the mystery. I could see that as like a Judge Dredd, right? That'd be pretty cool. Not gonna lie.
No one will take it from me.
No character development, just kicking ass.
This is the most significant piece of research my husband has ever left in my hands.
Stop it.
Mechanemesis with another $2. Thank you again. Missed opportunity. Naming naked zombies streakers. Yeah, I didn't even think of that.
What? William.
That's my favorite form of Willie B.
William, you're alive.
He has speaking lines, but you get what I meant, right? It's more about just like the story, and he's just there. Judge, jury, executioner. You know, you get what I'm saying.
William is still alive. He's getting stronger with each skin he casts off. Sherry!
Tell me what I need to know.
Big Willie style.
How can I save Sherry?
Right now, development's on hold on our game Vigil. Moonglint is developing Echoes of the Living. That's, I'm sure you've seen we covered it. It's very good. It's very good. I'm looking forward to it. But as soon as there are updates, we will update you guys.
Save my daughter.
She dropped her G Fuel, dude.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's illegal.
I wasn't a better mother. Tell her I love her. Sherry.
Gary, that's my thoughts. Very similar.
Annette.
But not their fault. I mean, fans have been begging for a Boba Fett series forever. And we got it, and they're like, maybe we didn't need it. Some people like it, though, and that's cool. Self-destruct sequence, bro. We're gonna go get Cheryl. Punishment fits the crime. They said, a perfect hunk movie. Hunk comes in, doesn't say shit, wrecks shit, and leaves. And I was like, kind of like a Judge Dredd style. It could work, you know?
Yeah. Like, he's the kind of character that works better as a secondary character.
Yeah.
But it could work.
Could work. And then Mechanemesis. Oh, I read that one. So, yeah. No, we are caught up with the Super Chats. So, if you'd like, I love the Mega Man flavor, by the way. You can hit up. You got lots of questions there.
Oh, do I? Let's see. No, I just have 2.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were.
It was burgers or tacos, which is burger.
Burger, same.
And then, what do you think of Dino Crisis 2? We discussed that a little bit earlier, that it's part of the problem with Dino Crisis 1 with some of the environments, whereas they actually nailed it by going back to the pre-rendered backgrounds, but the gameplay is much more action-y and feels like an arcade game. Where
it does. It's a fun arcade game, don't get me wrong.
So it was weird, like each game just could not figure out what they wanted to do with this concept. I really feel that if they ever do decide, it's unlikely. Capcom, a member of Capcom literally told me Dino Crisis is extinct. It's dead.
Yeah, that's crazy. I never know that.
Leon, you have to go back and get Sherry for me.
You know, that was the whole idea, was they're not doing anything with it.
That's a shame.
But if they were, I would want to see it done in the style of like the Resident Evil 2 remake as a horror game with
dinosaurs,
more iconic puzzles, and I want the same type of save system.
A little less convoluted.
Yeah, I want it less convoluted. Just give me the same fucking inventory system.
Yeah, that's
give me
okay.
A storage box. Just throw dinosaurs in there. There's plenty to make it feel original. And personally, I feel Capcom kind of has like the market cornered for these types of games.
Yeah.
Like looking at how they're doing like Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 2, they got it nailed.
Yeah.
So why not start taking that idea and branching it out?
I agree.
And doing, keeping the engine, keeping the gameplay mechanics, but now, like, do one that is Dino Crisis with dinosaurs, but with that gameplay.
Yeah.
Do a psychological horror game, you know. Do these different
Completely
things
agree.
that they can utilize and do different subgenres of survival horror where it's influenced by a completely different subset of films.
Yeah.
Like, they could do it, and they could probably launch like a few different franchises that could supplement the audience for Resident Evil
And have
by coming up with like other horror games.
two
they got
juggernauts at the
Clock
same
Tower,
time.
They have fucking
Yeah.
Clock Tower.
Yeah, that's true.
They could do fucking Clock Tower.
And that would
as
be
a Resident
different.
Evil game.
They could do it that, but it would also be different enough to be like another original thing too, where they could maybe experiment a little bit with like, well, they got the pursuer system. Yeah, they could for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Mr. X in Resident Evil Remake.
Yep.
That's a good precursor to doing something Clock Tower, like where, you know, you have this slasher villain.
Yep.
And, you know, Clock Tower has a lot of supernatural elements. Sometimes some of the games have other enemies in it, so, you know, that would be something that's perfect, you know, just to try and branch out and have at least one-off games, you know.
They have the properties. They could be a juggernaut, an absolute juggernaut of survival horror. They already are. I mean,
Cap God.
Cap God, yeah. A lot of people would love to see those series brought back, and with what they've learned and where they've come and where they are right now, like, yeah, fucking do it.
Like it'd actually be kind of neat to do like some sort of sub-series where it's the Resident Evil mechanics, but instead of like trying to do like a bunch of franchises,
Yeah.
they have like their own series. I don't know, like just call it survival horror, and then like a subtitle, and it's like survival horror series, Dino Crisis.
Yeah, they
And,
could make
like,
a.
kind of like how they had like Gun Survivor. They
Yeah.
were doing Resident Evil and Dino Crisis and stuff.
Yeah.
But they could do it where like each entry in the series is a different type of horror genre.
Like an anthology.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they could probably do like one that's inspired by like sci-fi.
Yeah, just to try it. Like if it, they get more back and they start
like an Alien,
experimenting.
Dead Space.
I would love that. I would love that. Yeah.
Have Capcom's version of that kind of genre. 'Cause there's quite a few sci-fi horror games
Yeah.
out there, so it'd be kind of neat to see that. It doesn't always have to be zombies, but obviously you got to keep within certain themes to be Resident Evil.
Yeah.
So have another series where each entry is a different type of game. This anthology, survival horror anthology.
Yeah, I
There you
would
go.
love that. They're killing it though. Not just with Resident Evil. They got freaking Onimusha remake coming out. They got Monster Hunter coming out. They got the Akami 2.
Onimusha is going to be big.
Yeah.
And it's big for the reason that they're bringing back a long dormant franchise. So that could potentially show that, there could be a chance that Dino Crisis does come back. But, I hope they do. But I hope when they do it, they're like, we need to focus on how we're going to make this into a horror game.
Yeah.
Because the potential to have some sort of game utilizing dinosaurs would be great.
Oh fuck! I already killed that son of a bitch.
I'm still of the mindset that, and I know we both disagreed when we were talking about it, but the mechanics of Resident Evil 6 would be perfect for Dino Crisis, because I feel one way that they can make Dino Crisis feel different is by really utilizing speed. Like, the enemies are fast. The dinosaurs
So you have
are
more
fast,
control
they're
over your
chasing
character.
There's a lot more to it, so you have more control to dodge out of the way. Like, that should be the panic behind it, is, trying to outrun and outsmart. Like, imagine the pursuer system grafted onto Dino Crisis.
Yeah.
Where the dinosaurs are, like, figuring out how to get to you all the time.
I could see it working. It would just, for me, it needs to be a little tighter. I have issues with how convoluted it feels in 6, but at the same time, I didn't play it enough to get good at it. So there's some skill issue there. I got this shit. Where's Sherry? Where the hell is... Oh, Sherry, I left her in the train. That's why. I'm looking... Oh, no. I brought her in there and gave her my jacket. I'm trying to remember because I'm so used to Leon A. She ain't there. We don't go that way in Claire's scenario. I'm just gonna forget about Sherry. It's fine. No, I just gotta get to The train.
Yeah, you go down.
Yeah.
You gotta go down and open that door.
For some reason, I thought I had to go give her the vaccine.
Yeah, I think you have to open that blast door.
Yeah, we're good to get through because I got the Mo disc. I don't know what's not. Oh yeah, I gotta put my print on it so I can get into it with the B scenario. We're fine. We're probably not gonna have time for the B scenario, so we'll be good for now.
Yeah, it's pushing 1 o'clock.
Yep.
You got just enough time to finish this.
All right, let's rock and roll. I opened it though. Cool. We got Mechanemesis with a $5 super chat. Thank you again. JJ Brandon, you guys ever owned any of the Toy Biz NECA Palisades Moby Dick Resident Evil figures growing up? I still have all of them. Yeah, I love them.
I own some of the Resident Evil 1 Toy Biz figures. I still have the Tyrant, the Hunter. My wife actually made me a shadow box of the first Resident Evil comic book magazine issue with Jill and the lab zombie inside, and Jill's like shooting the grenade launcher at him.
That's super cool.
She had tried to actually attach the Hunter to the top of it.
Yeah.
But it was like really hard to try and get it right.
Yeah.
But
okay.
It's really neat because she found like wallpaper, so everything behind it feels like mansion wallpaper.
I gotta see that, dude.
Yeah, I'll get a photo of it. It's like
it's dope.
It's up around like all my Resident Evil collections. So I have like the map of the mansion. I have an ad from Resident Evil 3.
That's awesome.
Quite a few like different little pieces. It's all surrounding my CRT with the PlayStation 1.
That's badass.
So it's yeah, I have like a little corner. That's
your retro
all
corner.
Resident Evil.
That's cool.
The Wrightson Tyrant, you know. But yeah, I have some of them. I also have the NECA Tyrant, and I have the Toy Biz Tyrant. Some of them are put away just because I don't have shelf space right now. I really need to try and dig out a lot of the different stuff that I have packed away because we had actually moved into a larger house last year. So it's slowly my office is getting together. So I kind of finally got it situated to a point where like everything was on shelves that I currently pulled out of boxes, and I'm like, okay, I'm done for now.
Yeah.
I'm in the middle of like movie productions and other stuff, so it's like
can wait a little bit.
Yeah, like it's there. I need a bigger office now.
Yeah.
I think my office is like it's something like crazy ridiculous, like 15 by 30 or something.
That's a good size office.
Already like full.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, the walls are getting covered with autographs and posters.
That's cool. You gotta decorate it, right? We were saying here too, like we're pretty much done with the studio, and the only thing left to do is decorate, get the posters up, get the autographs up, make it look cool. I tried to put the card in it like an idiot. Why won't the card go in? I blinked, yeah. I forgot you to come back down here to mix this thing.
Oh, yeah.
Then we got Brassmaster gifting a membership. Thank you for continuing to grow the Rose Squad. You brought us to 13 members. Much appreciated. And then Brassmaster with another $2 and another $2 on top of it. Thank you. JJ, I have a legit question for you. Can I ask you something, JJ? Of course, dude. You can ask me anytime.
I love how he's like slowly piecemealing it out like every $2.
I don't know. Can you? Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, force him to say may.
I'm just kidding, Brassmaster. Thank you.
Oh, that'd be good. Also, as we're like getting near the end of the game, this is like your final opportunities. If you just want to ask me questions there on the side, whether about the documentary or something about George's script or just anything really in general. Whether you want to, I don't know stuff about how I made the documentary or just questions about Resident Evil, you know, because we are getting near the climax of the game.
Yep. It's a final countdown, baby. Time to put Willie B down for good. And if you have not and you're enjoying it, please hit that like button. See how high we can get tonight. Not herbs high, likes high.
5 minutes until detonation.
5 minutes.
Gotta have a self-destruct sequence in a Resident Evil game. Gotta have it. Oh, I like the music here too.
I will say though that that's at least one thing that I found kind of refreshing, at least with the first movie.
Yeah.
Was that it wasn't a countdown for everything to explode, but it was just going to like seal everything for good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that's true. That is, I didn't.
Easy boss fight.
Yeah, that one's easy peasy lemon squeezy. This is the one that's a bitch.
Let's see here, Rambo 546. Brandon, what do you think of Day of the Dead? It's my favorite George Romero movie, and it's less liked among fans. That's not necessarily true. It used to be less liked among fans. I was a fan of Day of the Dead since I first saw it back in like 98, 99. And there was a very long time period where people just did not like it because, you know, a lot of people love Dawn of the Dead. And it was around, I want to say, the mid-2000s where people started to kind of reinvestigate it. Where, I guess because of land coming out, you know, people were going back and kind of looking at the... kind of like the Resident... where am I going here?
Sorry.
So they started looking back at it and reevaluating it, and it started getting picked up as like a really good classic George Romero film. Holy shit, is the chat popping? Everyone's now. I will say that if you have a question for me, try and do it with like the little app thing on the side there. That way,
yeah, there's a Q&A tab in the chat.
That way it doesn't get lost, because I'm gonna start seeing like all kinds of crazy shit. So
hell yeah!
Over the sides,
get it hyped, guys.
I can see it really quick.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I got this all right there.
So I love Day of the Dead. I know some of the actors from it, a lot of the zombies, really nice people. Of course, George Demick was in it. He's one of the zombies that tears off Captain Rhodes' legs. So I've become really great friends with him. And, you know, we've worked together now, and we're continuing to work together. So it's just, that movie means a lot to me. Chris McGibbon, who I work with, and he's a really great guy. He loves Day of the Dead. He actually was friends with, God, I can't think of his full name, but Gary, who played Private Steele, and he knew the guy that played Captain Rhodes. Sorry, it's very fucking late. I can't think of all the actors' names. What is that? John Denzo. Any chance you could or would do a Dino Crisis doc? I would not do a Dino Crisis doc, but that's because the guy who did a book called History of Carnosaur, I believe he has something planned where he wants to do History of Dino Crisis. So I wouldn't do that to someone who I consider a friend, to try and do something that's competing, you know. I would rather support him and actually try and get materials for him so that he could actually do his thing, and make sure like it's the best representation of documentary and everything about it. But the other problem too, there's not a lot of public information on the development of the Dino Crisis games. It's just unfortunate. Like, you know, there's so many people that have access to inside information about the development of Resident Evil. No one really was like, no one gave a shit about Dino Crisis. No one was trying to like get the design documents for Dino Crisis. And I know there's like all this crazy shit from the game that just never got put in. They had other dinosaurs that they couldn't figure out how to animate. They wanted like a Triceratops in the first game. All this crazy shit.
Hell yeah.
So, and like different costume designs and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that they just didn't put into it. So I wish those would actually come about. I would love to see more information on the development. So I hope if and when he gets the, you know, his book out, that he gets a lot of information out to the fans and makes it really unique. Let's see here.
Red Queen says, $2 super chat. Thank you, Red Queen. What do you think of 28 Days Later, Brandon?
I love 28 Days Later. That was one that I really felt reinvigorated the zombie concept. Still love the movie. I did not like the sequel as much, and I'm kind of on the fence about 28 years later. But the original movie, I absolutely love. It's a classic.
And I love the sequel. I love both of them.
Yeah.
I'm excited for 3, but yeah, it was for Brandon, but I had to get my thoughts in there. And then October, 189 with a $5 super chat. Thank you for your support. Chance to make RE Chronicles or Outbreak series movie?
I mean, if I had the opportunity, I would do it. But,
yeah.
you know, I don't know. Like, I would do anything within the Resident Evil world. I just want to do something that's official, you know. I love fan films. They're really cool, but at this stage, I'm trying to do stuff that's kind of furthering my career and giving me income that I can hire people and kind of just keep the cycle going where I can just keep making bigger and bigger movies and having that stepping stone to keep moving up. And the unfortunate thing is like I'm at a stage of my career where I can't go backwards to do something that would be for non-profit because I don't like
you got to make a career out of it.
I eventually want to make it like a sole career choice that's what I'm doing. So I want to try and like keep working with people. It's really cool working with JJ on stuff.
Thanks.
And like providing support or advisory stuff. But otherwise it's like I just want to make movies and just make kick-ass content for the fans and, you know, kind of build that career.
Budster 86 with a $2 super chat. Thank you, the Budster. Says, Brandon, thoughts on the Walking Dead series?
You know, I watched the Walking Dead series until just before the end of season 8, and I really did not like season 8. I didn't, and I think I was getting to the point like after like, you know, Negan came on and was killing off some of the characters. I kind of realized like I wasn't enjoying the show anymore, but I kept watching it. And then one day it was actually the episode before the series finale or season finale of season 8. So it's like right before the climatic battle against Negan.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't think I like this show anymore. And I just stopped watching it.
I felt that a few times.
I just stopped watching it, and I know nothing about it since then.
That's the same. Like I never was finished for me.
And like I don't know. I lost interest in it and just never went back. And I've never seen it. It could be free on an app somewhere, and I probably would never watch it. But I liked it for what it was. But you know, it's I don't know.
It started off so good. I loved it. Negan did bring me back, but then I had the same issue shortly after. We did say we'd close it out with watching George Romero's Resident Evil 2 trailer.
Yes.
Yep. So let's get that booted up.
And let me see if I can find
some more questions.
Yeah, I think there was a few like up above that just.
You want me to go scroll up?
Yeah, let's see if there was any other ones. Fast or slow zombies? I love slow zombies. Nothing against like George Romero had like his reasons why he hated fast zombies. You know, he felt like they would fall apart, like break their ankles and stuff. But no, like like it's two different like types of horror where like the fast zombies, it's like very pulse pounding because they're running like they don't run out of steam. They're just like constantly running. But I like the slow zombie approach because, you know, George would do these scenes where they kind of sneak up on you. Yeah. But it was always like, yeah, you can kind of get away from them, but where are you going to go? Because they're everywhere. Yeah. And he always had these scenes where eventually they were closing in on you. And you really see that in Day of the Dead where they're slow moving, but there's just so many of them. They're eventually going to corner you and then just tear you apart while you're alive. Yeah. And it's horrifying. So that was always the fear. Like they're constantly moving towards you. They don't sleep. You know, they don't feel pain. They're just constantly moving towards you, and they're eventually going to devour you. I like that. And they're usually your neighbors. Yeah. You know, yeah. Like that, I do like that. Fucking terrified. So
power in numbers and then tight spaces, and they'll build up. So this is the George Romero's live action Resident Evil 2 trailer that was directed to promotion the game. Which is super cool. But Bzerv actually went ahead, and I'll link his channel below this once I update timestamps and everything. Bzerv went ahead and remastered it, right? And he did a fantastic job. So we're going to watch Bzerv's version of George Romero's Biohazard 2 live action trailer. So here we go. Oh, let's try that again. Turn the audio on. I love their costumes.
Mm-hmm.
The feel of it's very. The feel of it reminds me of, Resident Evil 1.5, the blue police station. Oh, and then he did this one too, which is sick.
Resident Evil.
Very cool. But what did you guys think of George Romero? It was very short. This is B-Serv's channel, by the way. He does a lot of these restoration. It's very short, but I think it reminds me of seeing the Resident Evil 1 live action intro, but for Resident Evil 2, and I always thought that was cool. But there are longer versions, aren't there? Yeah. Like that are public. There's like a longer version.
There's not a longer version that's public, but there is more footage because there was an alternate trailer that I think it was like 15 seconds that just had lots and lots of like really quick shots, like Claire screaming and walking. There's like different zombie shots.
Yeah, because I remember seeing other like. Wasn't one of the zombies they showed in this trailer actually the one they used for the European Biohazard 2 Resident Evil 2?
That's in the in the alternate trailer too.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's so it's kind of neat that Resident Evil 2 or Biohazard 2 in Japan and Europe basically has a George Romero zombie.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of neat.
It is.
To think about that. George Romero's zombie is it's just another way that he's connected. It's not just this separate commercial. He ended up having one of his zombies that's from his commercial on the official cover of the games. So
that's super cool. Now that actor for Leon unfortunately passed away, but the actress for Claire is still alive, correct?
Yeah.
I want to interview her one day. One day. But yeah, super cool. And if you didn't know, now you know. We got Joker's Disciple with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Joker. What if, Brandon, the powers that be say you can direct a Resident Evil movie with $100 million budget, Code Veronica movie, or 7 with the Baker family? Choose and why? Good one.
I mean, if I can only choose between the two, logically I would have to choose 7. And it's not because I like 7 more than Code Veronica. It's the fact that I can't have any of the other adaptations leading up to it, so it kind of loses its meaning outside of like hardcore fans. To really do like a really good Code Veronica, you would have to have a trilogy that's 1, 2, and then Code Veronica. That way you get Chris's story and origin, Claire's story and origin, and then everything that leads into Code Veronica. But with like the Baker family, everything's kind of starting over. And you can kind of reintroduce people into that world. Like if that was the first movie, it's a great place to start with the series because you don't need to know, 20 some years of lore and all the events that are going on. And you could probably try and connect using some of the documents that he finds and like little comments to talk about the things that had come before. But, that's how I would do it if I had to choose. But $100 million budget.
That's crazy.
You probably see everything. I would just build the actual Baker house.
That's the
only way to do it.
That would be cool.
Full size mutated Jack Baker monster.
I want to build a Spencer Mansion. $100 million. You could easily build.
That's like
the real Spencer Mansion. Yeah.
That's 3 Constantine film movies.
Yeah. Damn, dude, that'd be the dream, though, to build the Spencer Mansion and then just hang out and stream there and live there. You'd have to put more bathrooms in.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd be so cool.
Could you imagine being sick and then like having to run from the keeper's dire like the other side?
Yeah,
like,
Jesus.
Like fuck.
I'll just puke on the floor. Somebody will clean it at some point.
Where's the shield key? Kicking down doors. You're like, oh
fuck, bitch. Oh, man. That was great. I do want to thank all of you for coming by to enjoy Resident Evil 2 with us. Again, massive thank you to Brandon for coming all the way here to get to hang out and play Resident Evil and Resident Evil 2. And we had a good time. And thank you again for coming. Again, I said this last night, but I'll say it again. If you didn't have a chance to check out George Romero's Resident Evil, the documentary that Brandon directed and produced, it is available on multiple different platforms. I made a video breaking down which ones. YouTube, Xbox, DirecTV, Amazon Prime. There's a bunch. It's available to rent or buy. There'll be physicals coming out, and it'll be coming out to Europe, hopefully sometime next month. But I highly encourage you guys, if you are a fan of Resident Evil, George Romero, or just horror in general, and you want a really good documentary to really take you behind the scenes and give you a really cool journey full of great information, check it out. please do so and let us know again, in the chat or in the comments after this what you thought about it. And Brandon, thank you, and I'll pitch it over to you now. So if there's anything you'd like to say before we close this out.
First off, I just want to say again, thank you to the community for all the love and support that you've given to the documentary. This was made by fans and for fans. It was a long journey. It was a lot of work, and we had a lot of things working against us to try and get this documentary made. So I really do appreciate the fact that you have been so receptive of it, and I do appreciate it. It was a struggle to get this. I cannot say that enough, that it was a struggle to get this thing made, and we did it. It's like Capcom when they we do it.
Yeah.
We did it.
Yeah.
A fan of Resident Evil managed to get a license and make a documentary that is for sale. Like this wasn't, something that was for free on YouTube. It became something that could be sold. You can buy it on Amazon and on YouTube and on Apple TV, depending on where you're at in the world right now. But it's still coming, and it's just the first steps to greater things. And it shows the power that the fans have to come together with their skills and get something made and tell these like really cool, unique stories. And I'm hoping I can get that opportunity again in the future to do more things, better things for the fans of Resident Evil, because I love this game series. It's my favorite game series, and I still play the games. And of course, I absolutely wanted to do this because I love George Romero. He inspired me to become a film director. Because of him, I was able to do this documentary that became the first thing as part of my film career. And it's because of this documentary that I managed to get the rights to Fate the Unholy Trinity, which is another video game that's going to be adapted into a film. So all of that is because of George Romero. And because of George Romero, I managed to meet JJ. And I'm sitting here now in the ROE studio because of George Romero. And that's just really cool to think like that, that it led to this. And, now I get to interact with all of you. And I really appreciated the warm reception I had here tonight and the engagement that you've given me. And I want to thank JJ for allowing me to come here. And I'm hoping I get to do this again in the future, and with us working on some projects together. My goal is just to continue making really cool stuff that you as fans can enjoy. And I'm someone that, I believe in Resident Evil and what it's capable of, as a multimedia franchise. And I hope there does come a day that I do get the opportunity to do something official that is an actual film, for Resident Evil. That is one of my passions, one of my dream projects, and I would love to have the opportunity to bring that and finally deliver something that the fans can stand behind and say, that's what fucking Resident Evil is.
That'd be awesome. Yeah.
So again, thank you so much. And you can reach me on Twitter. You can follow me on Twitter. It's at Mr. Midnight Owl. Usually JJ tags me. I'm also on Facebook under my full name, Brandon Salisbury, and I'm also on Instagram, though I don't use that much, but somehow everyone still follows me, even though I don't really post there. But again, I'm also in like the ROE Discord, so you can find me that way. So if you ever have questions or you just want to chat Resident Evil, reach out to me. Sometimes I'm busy, but I do try and answer questions and talk to people. So I'm very approachable. But thank you again, and back to you.
Thank you, and everybody is very they appreciate you being here. So, well said. There's not much else I could say to that other than thanks for coming by. Check out the documentary, and please, if you have a chance, leave a review on IMDb. It helps the film, helps the director, helps the team. Thank you guys all so much. Thank you for all the likes, the love and support. Thanks for hanging out with us. To those that went above and beyond and became members, gifted members, or super chatted, thank you for supporting the ROE and what we do here, keeping the lights on here at this old mansion. So dangerous. Thank you guys for that. And I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your weekend. Enjoy it, and we hope to see you here back at the Residence of Evil. Good night, everybody.
Take care.